right, here we go. VG Knocc Out, your triumphant return back to VladTV. West, y'all.
They not like us. You know
they not like us. Which brings us to our first topic, of course, the Kendrick versus Drake battle. Now, you being a West Coast dude, obviously I know the answer to who won.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the whole battle?
I think it's awesome, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I just think it's dope for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Mainly, they made people excited about hip hop again. You know what I'm saying? So I think overall, for me, that's what I like about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. But this was a very different type of battle.
Yeah.
Like, battles are always kind of gossipy in a way. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Tupac, I think, kind of lowered the bar in terms of saying
lowered the bar.
Well, I don't want to say raised the bar because, you know, he talked about sleeping with Biggie's wife.
Okay.
Which I felt was like
a low blow?
A low blow, yeah.
Yeah, that's what battle is, though. I mean, battle is about, you know, getting at the person. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
However you choose to. I think the only thing off limits would be like somebody that passed away or something like that. You know what I mean? But
that's not off limits these days.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, after drill, you know what I mean?
Yeah, drill does that every day. Smoking on Tuca and all that type of stuff. You know, people's kids used to be off limits.
Right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah.
And I felt this was the most gossipy battle of all time.
What you mean gossipy though? Like about what
it was gossip about the other person. Okay. You know, Kendrick claimed that Drake had a secret daughter.
Okay, yeah.
Then Drake claimed that one of Kendrick's kids isn't his.
Okay.
Then, you know, Kendrick claimed that Drake was a pedo. And you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's not really about who's the best or whatever. It's like who could find the most dirt on the other person.
But I think that come from battle rap, if you ask me. Because, you know, with the battle rap culture, that's what they do. They usually find people close to the person that they want to speak about, and they would try to get some dirt on them. You know what I mean? Like whatever they can, whether it's their real name, whether they went to high school, you know what I'm saying? What was they baby mama's names and things like that. Like, I think that's kind of the approach, it seemed to me, that they took on this battle between them.
But when you guys were beefing with Death Row, none of that came up.
Yeah, that's how it looked. If you think about real Compton City G's, right? Hey, yo, doctor, here's another proper track in this fat. Watch the sniper. Time to pay the piper. And let the real stuff provoke. See, you's a wannabe loc and you'll get smoked. And I hope that your fans understand when you talk about spraying me. Like when Eazy was talking about, you know, you getting pistol whipped by your sergeant and all that shit. Me saying, Dre, you ain't from Compton. All these things was like things that we had to know in order to say them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we didn't make the stuff up. You know, it was like, so what happened back in our day, there used to be females running between our camp and their camp.
Right.
And they, you know, and they would come back and tell us what was happening over there, and I'm sure they would run back and tell them whatever they seen with us. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. And then Eazy gave us a lot of information because he personally knew Dre. You know what I'm saying? He kind of knew Snoop as well because Snoop came around Eazy, I believe, through Warren G, because Warren G is Dre's brother, half brother, or whatever.
Stepbrother.
Stepbrother, right? Yeah. And then I guess they was all clicked up with Above the Law back then. But Above the Law, I think they probably just didn't know what, you know, how to get them signed or whatever. But he kind of like, you know, so he had a lot of information, you know what I'm saying, that he fed to my brother, because, you know, Drake's to actually pen those lyrics, you know what I'm saying, for them two. And so that's how we got all the info, you know what I mean? So it was like, it's kind of sort of the same thing, if you think about it.
So Dre's not from Compton?
Dre grew up right next to Compton, which would be considered South Central in Athens Park. So it's like, it's just, he's right on the borderline, but I believed he lived there. So what happens is, Vlad, a lot of times people, when they have family from somewhere and they go visit, they might get, you know, kind of turned out and then start claiming that area type shit. And I believe that's kind of what Dre did, but he didn't actually grow up there. He didn't go to school there. You know what I'm saying? He probably didn't lose his virginity there, none of that. You feel what I'm saying? And I think by way of his family, you know, he started claiming Compton. You understand what I'm saying? But he's not originally homegrown. You know, like when you came out your mother's womb and your first address was there type shit. You feel me?
I mean, yeah, if you look at one of NWA's biggest songs with Ice Cube, straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
And Ice
but
Cube
he's not
ain't
actually
from Compton either.
He's not from Compton at all.
Exactly.
He's from South Central, right?
Exactly. So I think it was an Eazy's idea for them to come out and push that.
Yeah.
And they just roll with it. I think that's, you know, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they did.
Right. But, I mean, you guys did talk about basically Suge bullying everybody at death row.
Right.
Right. What was the lines? Like, you know, get your ass popped with a Smith & Wesson.
Right.
You
Because
know?
we heard a lot of, the females used to tell us that he used to be over there slapping dudes up in the studio and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that we used that against him. You know what I mean?
Right. But you didn't talk about anyone's kids.
Yeah, because we didn't go that far. Like, we didn't go that far. You right.
Yeah. No, like I'm saying, it was more or less traditional rap battling.
Yeah.
I'm the best, you suck.
Yeah.
I'm more street than you, you're a fake gangster.
Yeah.
You're not really from here. That's all relatively standard. Like I said, when Tupac started off with, that's why I fucked your bitch. Like, it was like, oh.
But see, if that would have happened, we would have probably said it. You feel what I'm saying? Don't get us wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I guess no one really had women they slept with in common or whatever else. And I guess, I mean, Michelle A had a baby with Suge later on.
Yeah, had a baby with Dre, right?
And Dre, you know. Then, so I guess you can't really use that. But yeah, but I'm sure, considering how close Eazy and Dre were, I'm sure Eazy had some private information about him that he didn't let out.
You gotta understand is with them two, bro, they really had love for each other despite, you know, the music. You know what I mean? Because you gotta understand, if you hate somebody and that live right down the street from you, that can't really be too serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, bro. Y'all live like you can stand on Eazy porch and see Dre house type shit.
Right, they lived in Calabasas.
Calabasas, yeah. So it's like the hate didn't go that deep. You know what I'm saying? As far as what I seen and what I knew, and them even having conversations here and there. Like, you know, even despite him and Ice Cube's relationship, him and the Doc's relationship, like they actually used to conversate sometime on the phone. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really that serious.
You know what's interesting is I actually played you the audio right before here. My man Patrick Bet-David did an interview with Suge Knight.
Yeah.
And Suge Knight gave a very interesting version of the story of how Eazy-E signed off Dr. Dre to be on death row.
Right.
And according to Suge, he met up with Eazy, and he said he had a lot of respect for Eazy, but he claimed that Dre wanted Eazy dead.
Yeah, I think that's far-fetched, bro.
Yeah, and he said...
It sound like... Go ahead. Finish.
No, I just want to say that when they met up in the studio, Solar Records, he got on the phone with Dre on like speakerphone with Eazy right there. Yeah. And he was like, oh, you know, what do you want me to do to Eazy? Man, I want him to shoot him in the eye. Yeah. I want him dead. I want pictures of it. I want a video, whatever. And he claimed that when Eazy heard that, he started to cry because he had so much love for Dre and he got him a car and put him on and he was really hurt.
Boy, he wants something to happen to you bad, right? You say, nah, Andre never rejected me. I don't want to take care of him and bought him this and bought him that and put him on, basically. So I hold up. So don't say nothing. I call. So when Andre answered the phone, I'm talking to him. I said, he getting ready to come up here now. What you want done again? He was like, man, shoot that motherfucker in the head, blow his head off, shoot him in the eye, take pictures of it. When I hung up that phone, I seen one of the saddest things I ever seen in a man. I'm looking at Eazy, Eric, like, he looking so sad. And one tear started coming down a little bit. Then a few tears started coming down.
And then at the end, he like signed the contract. But the story's a little bit shaky because from what I've always heard, after signing the contract, Eazy then went and said it was signed under duress, and the contract was thrown out. And then they had to go through a whole legal proceedings, which is why Dre Day made Eazy's payday later on.
Right.
So when you heard that Suge Knight interview, what did you think?
I just think it was far-fetched, bro. Like I said, I just don't see that happening. And him saying he had love for E threw me off first, you know what I'm saying? Because we know that he really tried to have Eazy hurt. Like we knew he tried to. This is Eazy's words to us.
Okay, so what exactly did Eazy say about that meeting?
Eazy pretty much said, like, when he called him to come to wherever that place where they met up at, that once he got in there, all these other dudes start coming out of these other places. You know what I'm saying? As he tried to come there on some civil shit, because if he felt like it was gonna be something, he wouldn't have went by himself. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So Eazy went by himself to a meeting?
Of course, from what I remember.
Well, why would he do that at that point, knowing that it's a possibly hostile environment?
I don't think it was hostile, though, because you got to understand, because Suge used to work for them. Suge was bodyguarding for them. They had a relationship, you know what I mean? It ain't like it was some dude. He was like, oh, this blood dude is trying to call me somewhere. He wouldn't have went by himself.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Suge was Doc's bodyguard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like they knew each other previously. You know what I mean? So he didn't have, from what I remember, he didn't have no reason to think that something was going on. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes and no.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yes
I'm just
and no.
telling you from what I remember. You got to think this.
I wouldn't show up to a meeting like that
years ago.
Yeah,
like,
I wouldn't show up to a meeting like that solo myself.
Well, you ain't Eazy though.
I'm not Eazy, but
like, yeah. And then Eazy carried as well, so it ain't like
yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, but I just don't see Dre making those allegations. I think Suge, man, I don't know, man. No disrespect to him, no disrespect to his family. But I don't know, man. I don't know if he's recalling these things or making them up, bro. Like, I wasn't there, so I'm going to try to say I don't know what happened.
But you do know what Eazy told you.
But I know I remember.
Eazy said he was set up.
He said, and this to the best of my recollection, yeah.
Suge had a history of this type of behavior. Like, for example, I just did a couple interviews with Vanilla Ice.
Okay.
And he was saying how, I don't know if you remember this whole story, but there was this producer named Chocolate who claimed that he had written Ice Ice Baby and a bunch of other records.
Mm-hmm. Chocolate from Pomona, right?
I think so.
The producer?
I think so, yeah, producer.
Okay.
Exactly. And he had hooked up with Suge, and Suge took it upon himself to basically get this money that they felt they were owed.
Right.
And the way Ice kind of laid it out, he said at one point, like at two different occasions, he was at Benihana, Suge would just show up, sat down, start eating his food, you know, and then be like, yo, what's up, you know? And then at one point, him and his two bodyguards went back to their hotel. When they got in the room, Suge and a bunch of dudes were in the room. Well, then at one point, you come back to your hotel room with your two bodyguards, you open the door, and Suge is there in your room with like 5 guys.
Yeah.
What happens next?
I saw that they all had guns right away, and that they're not to be fucked with, but they're very well dressed and smelled good. And they were all smiling and saying they're huge fans, and they wanted to take pictures for their daughters and their family. And I did. And everything was cool until Suge said he'd like to talk to me on the balcony alone. And I said, oh, okay, it's fine with me. My bodyguard stood up and he got slapped down.
He slapped the bodyguards.
Oh, yeah.
Himself or one of his guys?
I hate to tell you, he slapped him so hard and made him cry, my bodyguard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Took his gun out of his, it took his gun from him too.
Suge took your bodyguard's gun?
No, Suge didn't.
Oh, one of his guys did?
No. His guys, if you want to call them that, I think they were there for backup.
And Suge basically took his bodyguard's guns off of him, smacked one of his bodyguards.
Wow.
And took him to the balcony and basically said, hey, you need to sign this paperwork. And, you know, there's always
he didn't hang him over.
No, that never happened.
Okay.
That never happened. I mean, that was a story. Yeah, it wasn't like a Big Red kind of situation.
Yeah.
But basically the story was, listen, do this or else.
Right.
And Vanilla Ice signed the paperwork, and Suge got a bunch of money that, you know, Vanilla Ice said he wasn't owed. And he claimed that money was used to start Death Row.
See, there we go.
You know, the story gets fuzzy on a lot of different.
Like I see, because you got to think, Vlad, these stories are so old, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think a lot of times when we be trying to remember this shit, sometimes we probably be adding our own shit to it. You know what I mean? Because it's so fucking old. But yeah, that's crazy, bro. I can't see Dre saying that shit and then Eazy hearing it on the phone. Then he said Eazy got all sad and had one tear drop. Like,
well, you say he started crying completely.
Like a movie, bro. Like, he said one tear fell. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Hit the page.
Yeah, man. Like, what's up with this dude, man?
Yeah, listen.
He's just in jail. Like, you know, jail, when you go to prison, I'm gonna tell you this. When you in prison, bro, you start fantasizing. Like, you start having a false sense of reality.
Huh.
I don't know if you, like, that's the psychological effect of being in there. You understand what I'm saying? And it sounds like, because I've heard like, he started his own podcast from there, right?
Yep.
And it's a lot of fanciful shit I hear him say on those things, man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, bro. I don't know if he just like, you know, trying to create these stories to get paid, because I heard about Alpo as well. They said, you ever heard those little tapings of Alpo on YouTube? Alpo,
I heard a few of them. I was supposed to, I've talked to Alpo before he died.
Okay, but from what I've heard too is that a lot of those stories that he told, he made a lot of that shit up as well. He said because he actually told somebody that's how he was getting money while he was in jail. So he would romanticize all of these stories to get people to interview him to get paid. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Look, Suge definitely hates Dr. Dre.
Absolutely.
Suge is
and
sitting...
vice versa, I believe.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Suge is sitting in jail for the next however many years, if not decades, while Dre is on a $100 million yacht, being a billionaire, living his best life. Death Row is no longer, Suge's, property. Snoop owns it now. Yeah. Which is very ironic.
Ironically, yeah.
Ironic. And obviously there's a certain level of bitterness, whether he wants to admit it or not.
Absolutely. I mean, shit, who wouldn't be?
Yeah. Like Suge and I've always said this, had he played his cards differently, he could be right there with Dre right now.
You know what I think, what I always said, like after he went to jail that first time, what was it, like 5 years that he had got or something?
Yeah, or the kicking incident?
Yeah. So I believe if he would have came home and just played the background and hired some new people to run that label and he could have just been out living, that would have been the smartest thing he could have did. But I think his ego was so, that that money and that ego is a monster, bro. You know what I mean?
Look, me and Whack 100 are cool these days. He's done a couple of interviews, and one thing he said, which still blows my mind, was when Suge was getting sued by Lydia Harris and that whole situation.
Yeah, Harry O.
Yeah, and Harry O. He didn't go to court. And he
flaunted the court.
He told Whack 100 gangsters don't go to court. And Whack was like, this is civil court. This is not criminal court.
Right.
Like, you're crazy right now. Gangsters don't go to court.
I asked Suge one time, why you not going to court? And he was like, nah, gangsters don't go to court. I said, civil court.
This is how he lost the company.
That's how he lost the company.
Yeah.
I watched
Not showing up to court. That's where Lydia Harris ended up just winning by default.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't go to court, so he lost.
Right.
And he lost the whole label.
I was in prison with Harry O walking out. Me and Harry O walked the track probably about a few days in a row. He showed me that paperwork from that as a result of that lawsuit. Yeah. Yep. When he won that, when they won and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if they got paid what they were supposed to, because it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money. What was Harry O's overall mentality about the whole thing?
Harry O, he was mainly hurt. I don't know if you've seen, they got a Death Row documentary that I seen. Can't recall exactly the name. But I remember Harry O, he supposedly gave them the first upfront money, which was upwards of $1 million or something like that, to start Death Row and things like that. And then I remember seeing David Kenner on the documentary going back and forth to visit him. And then one time supposedly poisoned him while he went to use the restroom.
Wait, well, who poisoned who?
Supposedly, David Kenner put something in Harry O's soda when he went to use the restroom, or when he wasn't at the table where the visit was. And Harry O almost passed away. Like he something happened to him. He got poisoned or something. Yeah. He had to go to the infirmary in there, almost died, had to learn how to walk again, all type of crazy shit from as a result of a visit with David Kenner or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But Kenner was the mafia lawyer. See what I'm saying? Like that's what he was known for. I can't find the details, but I've always heard that Kenner represented big mob bosses before working with Death Row.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so
it doesn't totally surprise me that this could have potentially happened. Now,
well,
we don't know if it's true.
I mean,
David,
I don't know.
Please don't sue us. We don't know if it's true.
I didn't record it or nothing. This is what I seen. The documentary is out. If I seen it, that means it's public. You feel
Did Harry O tell you that?
No, he didn't tell me that.
Okay.
He didn't tell me nothing about that story, but I seen that after I got out of prison. You feel what I'm saying? This is when they still had DVDs and shit. Like, so when I first came home, the DVDs was like going out. But yeah, but Harry O told me about the lawsuit and a bunch of other things, you know, that he actually had, you know, going on.
Suge is good for creating chaos.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I had Whack 100 on my show recently, and he had talked about this. He said that there's an audio recording of Suge essentially saying that Tupac told him that he got raped in prison.
Whoa.
And I heard that recording. It was over a jail phone call. It was basically, they were talking about how John Singleton originally was supposed to direct the All Eyes on Me movie.
Okay.
And the friction developed when Singleton was supposed to have a rape scene in prison with Pac getting raped. And there was also a storyline about Afeni being a lesbian.
Whoa.
Right? And I guess the estate was upset over it.
Who wrote that? Whose idea was that?
Singleton.
That was his idea?
That was his script that he helped develop.
That's really disgraceful.
And that was where the falling out happened, and then Benny Boom came in as a director and honestly didn't do a great job. Singleton and Tupac were really locked in together. Right? Like, I remember talking to the Hughes brothers, you know, when I interviewed both of them individually, and they were saying how Pac didn't want to do starring roles in other people's films.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to be like Scorsese and De Niro with John Singleton. Like, he wanted to just partner with him and star in all his movies, and, you know, those two were going to come up together. So the two of them were really, really tight.
Yeah, but you think Pac would have approved of a damn rape scene, bro?
Well, no, Pac was already gone, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but that's kind of disgraceful to do as somebody that you're tight with.
Right, but, you know, if I remember, I heard the audio. It was a jail phone call between Suge and some other dude. Like, I actually heard it.
What did they say?
Basically, they were talking about the whole situation, and they were saying how John Singleton got kicked off the project because the Feeney lesbian thing and the Tupac rape thing. And Suge was like, well, you know, if you're going to do a biopic, you know, you need to put the real out there. And, you know, it probably happened something like that.
But you know what I can say, bro? Let me just tell you this. The one thing you got to understand about prison, right, is that if somebody get disgraced in prison, niggas that was there is going to come home, especially in this internet age, they going to come home and act like they know. You know what I'm saying? Or if they was there, they gonna really tell about it, because, you know, niggas like to talk now. The internet got all these hard gang members, you know what I'm saying? These hardcore Bloods and Crips and whatever else on the internet just telling every goddamn thing. I think that shit would have came out if that was real.
Would you brag about raping Tupac in prison?
No, but what about the people that was next door that heard the screams? You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's not no shit that's gonna go like unheard. Do you, like, when somebody get raped, they're gonna be hollering, screaming, trying to get away? You understand what I'm saying? I've heard people get raped in jail. It didn't sound good, bro. You feel me?
I'm sure it did.
I'm sure people would love to come home and brag about Tupac being raped in jail. Think about that, especially the beef with Biggie, like especially the dudes from where Biggie's from. They would have been the main people probably trying to, you know what I'm saying, press that and put it out there. I don't believe that shit, man. I don't believe that shit.
I don't know either. I don't know. Would
it's hard.
Pac,
that shit's so far-fetched.
I mean, would Pac confide in Suge and tell him that? Maybe. But I don't know. You know, and also what's interesting was Wack put it out there that Suge is in some form of PC.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, and he actually posted this picture.
He said he was in a cell by himself on that video. Yeah. Well, PC is the majority of prison in California now. So
right. I mean, he basically showed this picture here that we're going to show on the screen. And if you see the people in this photo, these are like older people, like senior citizens, you know. Like,
well, you know, PC is like that. So PC yards, even the main line, they used to have like these they call them pill dorms. It's people that take hot meds and shit like that. So they keep them all in the same place. The elders, they didn't really separate them by like you being older and shit like that. But you know, they've been trying to revamp California prisons for a long time. They've been trying to stop the race, the selling up with your own race shit. They've been trying to do that since I've been in prison. You understand what I'm saying? So, but now the majority of prison in California is mainly PC. The main line are the minority now in jail. You know what I'm saying? So much so that you got the Northerners and the Southerners who are arch enemies are clicked up now in jail.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the Norteños, Sureños are now cool with each other?
In prison. I ain't gonna say on the street, but in prison, yeah. Because the PC shit is the majority. Like they kind of run into the prison system. Like
I remember I interviewed this former Hells Angels leader named Pee Wee.
Yeah. And
I remember I asked him why there weren't any black people in the Hells Angels. And he explained to me very clearly. He said, the reason is because a lot of Hells Angels are in prison. And when it comes down to that, there's a racial line that if something pops off, you go with your own race.
Yep.
Basically, black people are not allowed to be Hells Angels?
They didn't have black people in the club. They thought it was like a racist thing. They did it because it was all to do with going to prison, you know, how they're segregated in the prison. There's no way you can walk into the prison, trust me, after me being there, now knowing, you know, it's harder when you've never been to prison like I wasn't before. Hearing it, you're like, well, is it really that bad? Yeah, it is that bad. I could not walk in there with a black guy and say, hey, you know, this is my brother. Hey, we're staying together. We'd either get killed by his, you know, black group or a white group. They ain't tolerating it. They're very, very segregated, and you don't go in their areas or anything. So how would that really work out? You know what I mean?
Okay, so it was a prison thing. It wasn't really a racist thing.
Right, it was a prison thing. It wasn't a racist thing.
Right, because you can't be a black Hells Angel in prison because you'd be caught in the middle of racial riots, essentially. Now, if you have a black Hells Angels member, they would have to pick a side against the Hells Angels, and then that would complicate the situation.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's kind of impossible to do, but it's like you do have black Sureños, you do have black Norteños as well.
Really?
Yes.
You have
black, in prison. Yes.
Mexican gang members.
Yes, that runs with them. They're going to fight with them.
So they would fight black people.
Absolutely.
Whoa, you've seen this?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember I had Trey D here recently.
Yeah.
And I remember I asked him, you know, when he became Muslim, did that complicate the situation with him being a Crip? Because sometimes the Muslims get into it with other groups.
Yeah. And
he said, not really. He said, I'm an OG Crip. And
a lot of times it alleviates things because if the Muslims get into it with the Crips, or especially from where you're from, who's most likely they gonna listen to? Somebody that knows them. You understand? That come from where they come from.
Yeah, he basically said that, you know, he's down with the Crips, but if they're on some bullshit, he's not gonna be part of that. Yeah. You know, when it comes to the Muslims and stuff like that.
I couldn't see. This will happen with me a couple of times. One time, a dude that I knew from the street got like touched on a basketball court, meaning somebody like socked him up. You know what I'm saying? They playing basketball, it got hostile. Dude, I guess, pushed him kind of harshly, whatever, and he tried to run up on him, and the dude punched him. You know what I'm saying? And then all of his homies surrounded him. So on this particular time, the dudes from Compton and Watts, because how the yard was getting flipped, so it was only like basically two buildings that that were open. There was 2 buildings closed. But we was like, the Compton and Watts was the least people there. It was only like 5 of them. I think including me, it would equal 5. But these other dudes that they got into it with, they was like 27 deep. You know what I mean? So, you know, the homie came around and told everybody from Compton and Watts what happened. You know, naturally, I thought I knew the dude, the main dude. I tried to go out there and talk to him. He gave me a promise that, you know what I'm saying, he would let my homeboy go and fight the person, you know what I'm saying, he got into it with head up. So as we go to the building so they can go in the cell, because we try not to get the yard shut down and all that shit, right? So as we walking in the building, they try to rush us, bro. Like 27 dudes try to jump on 5 of us. So I got caught up in the melee with them. You know what I mean? But that, you know, that happens when, you know, you Muslim and you trying to create peace. Like you can get caught up in shit like that as well.
Just to bring it back to the Drake and Kendrick beef.
Yeah.
I feel by all intents and purposes, it ended when Drake's bodyguard got shot.
Okay. You think so?
Not to say Kendrick.
That
it was in Canada. It was in Toronto.
Right.
It was at his mansion.
Right.
I don't think Kendrick had anything to do with that whatsoever because it's in Canada.
Right.
No one's going to send a guy to Canada to go do something, right?
Fuck no.
You know, if I were to guess, it probably had something to do with him dissing The Weeknd. Calling him a drug addict and stuff like that. You know, like I said, I'm just guessing, but a shooting in Toronto would probably be due to him dissing a Toronto artist. That's just my guess. But I think that once it got so close to home, that your own bodyguard got shot in front of your own home, I think that made him say, this is a little too real for me. Yeah. I'm not used to this. I'm used to beefing with Meek Mill and, you know, doing back to back. And, you know, even he performed, you know, back to back in, you know, Philly when he performed there and nothing happened. And nothing ever happened close to Drake until the situation. Yeah. I think that just probably scared him. And he just said, you know something, I'm just going to take this L. Because I think ultimately...
I mean, he was going to have to take it anyway. Like, I don't think he could have stopped...
No, he could have kept going.
That Compton
he could have dropped another song. You know, but look, like, Not Like Us had 4 times the streams of Meet the Family.
Right.
Now, you could say, oh, it's bots, it's all that. I mean, everyone has access to bots.
Bro, Drake would have the more so than anybody.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Exactly. He has a bigger fan base, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the fact that Kendrick got 4 times the streams,
right?
And it's not like you're going to say, oh, no one plays that song. No, you hear that song in clubs and parties. It's like an anthem.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very West Coast.
Right. Which we love.
Yeah. And I've always said that, like, you know, Drake is the more popular artist, but Kendrick's always been the more creative artist.
Yep.
That's always been
probably
my take.
To date, he's probably the most creative to date, if you ask me.
Just in rappers in general?
Yeah, in general.
You could say that.
Yeah.
You could definitely say that. I mean, he pushes the envelope of what hip hop is.
He does, but he always I've known Kendrick since his mixtapes, and his mixtapes he always done what he's doing now. I think the way he had to come in the game was, you know, serve you up what was popular and what people would actually, you know, the masses would actually like, and then he can actually be himself, you know, once he reeled people in. You know what I mean? He's always been creative. Like his very beginnings is like that, you know?
You ever met him?
I never met him, no.
Never met him? I met him
but
before.
I've always been a fan, though.
Yeah, I've met him before. I've had conversations with him before.
Okay.
Cool dude, very quiet.
Yeah.
Very
introspective,
quiet.
Like
yeah. Like I remember it was me, him, and Dave Free. We were both in Puerto Rico because we all got flown out to do some, you know, to be at this Bacardi like event. He was performing. I was just out there just as they just wanted influencers out there. I remember we were all at the airport waiting for our flight back. It was me, him, and Dave, and the 3 of us were talking, but me and Dave were doing all the talking. He just sat there and he was paying attention. Yeah, he would laugh and, you know what I mean? But he barely said anything.
Yeah.
Very quiet dude.
Compton.
Yeah.
We'll just jump into people's conversations. The real, yeah.
Where do you think Real Compton City G's ranks in terms of like the best diss tracks out there?
It's in the top 3 in my
top
opinion.
3.
Yeah, it'd be real Compton City G's, no Vaseline, and
Hit 'em up.
I wouldn't even say hit 'em up.
You wouldn't put Hit 'em up in your top 3?
Nah,
Really?
because it came so later.
What do you mean it came later?
What else would make it? What else? What else? Compton City G's, no Vaseline. The Bridge is Over. I think The Bridge is Over is first. You know what I'm saying? And it's just unfortunate
I could see a good argument for that.
Yeah, bro, because like listen, man, the dudes that the people in The Bridge he dissed would sing the song. That's how hard it was.
Oh yeah,
Do you understand what I'm
50
saying?
Cent used to always say how they would play The Bridge is Over in Queens, even though they're dissing Queens.
He from Queens,
Yeah,
right?
you from Queens over there?
right here.
Yeah, your man is from Queens over here.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. Like for this record to win over your crowd is ridiculous, right? So that's the type of effect. So that's what I would rate it on, as opposed to, not just the popularity of it, but it's like, what's the effect that it had on the people? You know what I mean? And in '93, there was no, Compton City G's was it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That song, even right now to this day, you can go out of here and hear people playing that shit down the street, and that's a 31-year-old song. You feel me? Like, I mean, Hit 'em Up. I think Hit 'em Up, the popularity of Hit 'em Up comes from, nothing away from Pac. He was one of the greatest, right? But I think the popularity of it comes from the controversy. You know what I'm saying? Then you got to understand him and Biggie passed away. So I believe, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like people not wanting to let go type shit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, I just looked it up. Real Compton City G's has 250 million views.
Yes, sir.
And you got to understand that streaming came out, like 25 years after it came out. So you don't have that first week bump of everyone rushing. This is like, people have to find it after the fact.
Right.
And it's still got 250 million
kids that
views.
wasn't even born. You got you understand that?
100%.
Like, yeah, so.
You wrote on that. Do you still get royalties out that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Can you say how much you made total off that song?
No, I can't. No, I can't.
I'd ask.
I can't and I won't.
Okay.
I was in prison, so the whole time I was in prison, I survived off those royalties, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
I bet. I mean, in fact,
like literally.
In fact, I just looked. Real Compton City G's has more views than Boys in the Hood.
Mm-hmm. We brought Eazy all the way back, bro. Like, let me just tell you that. We brought him all the way back to relevancy because I think before that, he had that 5150 shit that he put out.
Yeah.
That's like the wackest material, like, for me. And I hate to say that because a lot of my homeboys, which is Cocaine and Above the Law, will.i.am them, they had a lot to do with that record, Menage a Trois. Shout out to all of y'all, y'all Ruthless family. But that shit just wasn't him. You understand what I'm saying? You had Only If You Want It.
Yeah.
He rapping Tretch shit. Like, that shit wasn't it, bro. Like,
Tretch wrote that?
Yeah, you can't tell.
Oh, no, I guess you can now that you think about it.
Yeah. Can I get an eye open up? Easy look. That's not.
Man.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Next
that
time I
was
interview
so
Tretch, I got
out
to bring
of-
that up.
Yeah, it was so out of the, too far away from the person he was.
Well, I think that album, or was it an EP?
I'm not sure.
think it was an
Like I
EP.
told you, I didn't really like. The only thing that I really liked it was the Neighborhood Sniper on that album. And I think Cocaine did the hook or something like that. That was like the hardest shit. When he was on top of the buildings, sniping people from roofs and shit like that in the video.
It's basically 4 songs.
Yeah.
4 songs and an intro.
EP then.
Yeah, it's a 4 songs and an intro.
Yeah,
I think that EP just highlighted how big of an influence Dre was overall.
Absolutely.
And now Dre was gone.
Absolutely.
And he's on his own.
Absolutely.
And he just didn't have the producers.
Yeah.
The executive producer. Someone to basically look over the whole project and say,
Right.
this song, not this song.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it still went gold or something like that.
I'm sure it did, because Eazy-E
just
was still
'cause
Eazy-E.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But it just, the sound wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, Only If You Want It has like 12.5 million views.
Yeah.
Which, isn't bad, but, it wasn't
him.
Eazy-E caliber.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What did you think, being from Compton, the whole DJ Quik MC Eiht beef?
I mean, I was into it, bro. I was young. You know what I'm saying? They like my elders in music. I was into it, and Quik was the dude, man. When in that beef, like he outshined MC Eiht, bro.
Oh, you feel that way?
Absolutely, everybody do. Everybody in the city did. Okay. You know what I mean? Like
MC Eiht's no slouch.
No, he's not. But at the same time, it's just Quik was just better. You know what I mean? And sometimes when two people battle, one person is better than the other. It's like Kendrick and Drake. You know what I'm saying? KRS-One and MC Shan back in that time. He just outshined him with that one song. You know what I mean? That Dollars and Cents is like right now. You can put it on right now. You can be like, damn. You know what I mean?
What's interesting, I see an interview on Art of Dialogue where MC Eiht was talking about how at the Source Awards, DJ Quik performed Dollars and Cents on stage, and Eazy-E joined him.
Okay.
And he felt some type of way about that.
Well, I can understand that. I can understand that though, because they was cool. But they all were, you know what I'm saying? Well, not they all were, but he was cool with both sides. You feel what I'm saying? And then I think Ren was closer to CMW, Compton's Most Wanted, which is Eiht's clique or whatever. Yeah. I think it was Ren that was closer to them. But, you know, I can understand that. You know what I mean? Because it was embarrassing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I actually seen, let me tell you, it is so fucked up. I actually seen a couple of my homies, which, look, JL Felony been tight. Because we was on Def Jam. He was on JMJ, Def Jam or whatever. And I was on Outburst, Def Jam, right? So we toured together and shit like that. I actually went to his hometown, you know what I'm saying, outside of music and hung out with him. But not only that, him and one of my homeboys I actually grew up with, while Dog Pound was performing What Would You Do, which is the song they dissed me on when they said fuck BG Knocc Out and every nigga down with him. They was actually on stage rocking out to the song, and I seen the videotape some years later. I swear to God, bro. And I was just like, damn, fool, like, damn. But I can understand, like, you know, the music is powerful, man. You know what I'm saying? It don't necessarily mean that they actually feel the way the lyrics are, but the shit is hard. You just can't deny this shit. It's hard as hell, like, you know what I mean? And you know, by the way, they reversed those lyrics now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they say we down with him in there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they switched it up. Like, and I shout out to the Dog Pound too.
Yeah, I've interviewed Daz and Corrupt. You know, Corrupt had that viral moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, right
he
here.
started screaming, about the Kendricks, you know,
don't
control
like your
verse.
fucking streets.
we like ours.
We like ours, cuz. That nigga's alone.
And then he got calm right afterwards.
Yeah.
No, it was a classic moment.
No, for sure.
I'm important like the Pope. I'm the king of New York. I'm live from South Central. I'm a Muslim on pork. That means I'm the fucking worst. And that's all it meant. I'm the fucking worst. I'm important like the Pope. I'm important, nigga. I'm the king of New York. His name was Frank White. You notice how since somebody from the West Coast will say they're the king of fucking New York, they automatically assume we're disrespecting New York.
Right.
I'm sick of that shit. We don't have a problem with you, New York. Stop it, my nigga. King of New York is a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie. Biggie called himself Frank fucking White. Who is Frank White?
Christopher Walken.
Wrong. He's the fucking king of New York. It's a fucking movie, man. We don't want your city, your country, your town. We know what we from Los Angeles, we from Compton, nigga, Watts, Inglewood, nigga, we are the West Coast. Why the fuck would we want to be where you at, nigga? We don't like your fucking streets. We like ours, cuz. Ours. We don't have a problem with you guys, my nigga. We don't have a problem with y'all, cuz. Sorry about that. I had to get that up.
I mean, look, the Quik and MC Eiht beef got ugly. At one point, someone died. There was a situation. I remember me and Mob James were talking about it. It was like some event where both of them were there, and then a fight broke out, and some dude, I think, got stabbed to death or something. Wow. And there were so many people that no one even knew who did it, and that was that.
Damn, that's crazy. I never knew that part.
Yeah, no, it was ugly,
but
man.
That's how shit, you know, them beefs, like, you know, the golf course shit with us, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, shit can go left, you know what I mean? Because there's too many egos, you know, it's so egotistical. It's like, you know how like we was beefing with them, bro? I swear to you, the only time that I ever really started the aggression with them was the first time I ever ran into them. And so we had got nominated for an award, so we was at the Universal Amphitheater, and you know, Death Row, this one Death Row would be rolling like 300, 400 thick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we like 7 deep, they, like I said, 300 deep, but the way they set everybody, they had Suge and Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all them, they was like in the first row of the awards. We was probably like 3 rows behind them. The Dog Pound was like 4 or 5 rows behind us, you know what I'm saying? So when I walk in, most of the people are already seated, and we was just getting to our seats. So I was able to, like, you know, stake out the whole spot. And the first time I ran up on them was at that time, you know what I'm saying? Ran up on them, gang banging. It didn't really get freaky, you know what I'm saying? It could have, but that's the only time I ever really came at them aggressive. When I didn't get that in return, every time I seen them after, I wasn't really on nothing with them. Cause I'm like, they ain't, you know, they wasn't really pushing it like that. And then it was the Nate Dogg would always be he would be the one who always respond though. Even in that situation, he stood up in a row. He didn't come out the row, but he had on a hockey mask at the time. And he was yelling his shit, but I'm like, what's happening? Like, come out. And he wouldn't come out, you know what I mean? But he was the only one who would speak up back then. Like,
one of my members, Jonathan Johnson, 4347, he brought up the question, now that Snoop owns Death Row, are you open to doing business with Death Row now?
Me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Snoop is the homie, man. I fuck with Snoop. So yeah, I would do whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I interviewed Trey D, and he felt that Snoop buying Death Row was kind of like a ha-ha to Suge. Like, here you go.
I saw him claiming ownership of Death Row as a guy kind of like ha-ha and Suge a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you thought, huh? Yeah, see, you just should have just did this, and you still be right here doing what you do.
I don't think it's a ha-ha, bro. You got to understand Snoop, his legacy, because you got to think, the Chronic album, which is Dr. Dre's name on it, that's a Snoop Dogg record if you think about it. That's the way I see it. That's like Doggy Style 1, if you ask me. He's all through that fucking record.
Yeah,
you know he pretty much built Death Row.
Yeah, I mean, Dre used these Chronic projects to introduce his big artists.
Absolutely.
So Chronic introduced Snoop, and 2001
what I'm
introduced
saying
Eminem.
is the biggest songs, the songs that made, you know what I'm saying, that made those records what they were was with Snoop Dogg.
I mean, Snoop was all over the album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, and then he didn't get paid for it. You got to understand. He said he never got a publishing check for none of those records, bro. He's kind of owed that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And remember, Suge and Snoop hated each other at one point.
Yeah.
I remember like
Snoop
Bitch
did a
Slapped
diss
and
song
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They hate each other. They would run into each other and just mean mug each other, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And it was ugly. Well, a very big situation happened since our last interview.
Okay.
Keffe D was arrested.
Yeah.
In Las Vegas, which is where he was living, ironically enough.
Yeah.
Now, were you the first person that put me up on the Keffe D audio tapes?
I think
you were the first person to mention it to me.
Yep, on the interview, I believe.
In an interview, and then I looked it up, and that started a whole chain of events.
Yeah, because when I did mention to you, I just heard about it, and then I went and researched it, and I heard the shit, and I was like, that's really him. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
when we was talking about it, I was like, yeah, that shit is really real.
Did you know Keefe though?
Of course, hell yeah.
Okay, well, I know you and Orlando was close.
Yeah, bro.
But was Keefe around also?
Keefe too. Yeah, brother. I used to be in Keefe's house, bro.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Right there, sitting with him and Orlando and all the homies, my homies and they homies. Like I told you, in Compton back in the 80s, our hoods was clicked up. Nutty Block, Southside, Atlantic Drive. It was called Nutty South Atlantic. We rode like that from 84 up into the early 90s. I mean, not 84, 87 up into the early 90s. You understand what I'm saying? So we've been around each other millions of times. Yeah.
What was Keefe like back then?
He was cool. Keefe liked to smoke weed. He rolled some big ass. His joints be like this damn thick. You know what I'm saying? Because we was smoking paper still back then. And he just talked shit. He had a lot of money. He had a lot of shit. He was just a cool ass nigga. Like, he always had a story about something from some episode that they experienced the night before previously. He was cool. He was a laid back nigga.
What was his relationship with his nephew Orlando?
They were very close.
Very close.
Very close, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, he because he pretty much put Orlando, pretty much helped Orlando get money. So just imagine the age difference between them. Me and Orlando is the same age, and he's having money like people that's, twice our age type shit. Since we were young, you know what I mean? So yeah, they was really close. They got a lot of money together.
Well, I interviewed Robert Ladd recently from the Compton gang unit.
Yeah.
Right. I interviewed him and Blondie together at one point, but Blondie had passed away.
Okay.
And
Blondie, cutting no slack, the hunky police that wanna be black. Blondie, don't you know? Fucking with me, you catch a bullet in your dad. That was Quik back in
that was DJ Quik. We actually talked about that.
Oh, he did?
We actually talked about that situation, how
See, remember I told you too, Blondie had took some drugs from me back when I was like 11, 12 years old and kept it.
How do you know he kept it?
Because he didn't take me to jail. Yeah, he used to do a lot of people like.
You say he was a dirty cop.
Come on, man. I don't want to talk about a dead man like that, but yeah, he did some dirty shit, bro, yeah.
What about Robert Ladd?
I don't remember Ladd that well.
That was his partner for a long time.
Yeah, I don't remember him that well.
Well, that song,
he probably was around, but I just don't remember him, though.
Okay, so as a side note, when DJ Quik dropped, and this was like a mixtape.
Yep.
This was before he was signed or whatever else. When he dropped a song and talked about shooting a Compton police officer in the song was circulating, playing out of people's cars.
Right.
What did you think?
That shit was hard to me, because that's how we all felt like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the police is a nuisance in the ghetto in Compton. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so we didn't have no problem with it. We was singing the shit out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess at one point there was some situation that happened. It was some sort of event. DJ Quik was there, and Blondie and Robert Ladd were there doing police security.
Whoa.
And they basically, had to talk to
Quik,
and Quik was like, "Hey man, this is just music. I didn't really mean it like that."
Yeah.
It was it wasn't no real animosity by that point.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna really do it, bro. Like, come on. But that don't mean he can't say it in a record. You know what I mean? NWA did fuck the police.
Yeah, but they didn't say who in the police.
I understand.
You should fuck,
I understand. But this is what you gotta understand too. That's how much of Blondie was fucking with people, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you standing out now because a motherfucker speaking on your name. So that means you were overly doing what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about that too.
Was he, from your point of view, was Blondie the most problematic Compton police officer?
He was definitely one of them. Yeah. It was a few, but he was definitely one.
Okay, because what Robert Ladd told me in our last interview was that Orlando was being investigated for 2 different murders, which ultimately he never got convicted for.
I have no clue.
Yeah, there was 2 situations where I'm not sure if he was the actual shooter, but he was part of a whole situation. In fact, they were telling me, Robert Ladd was saying there was a situation where Orlando actually shot at them.
He was with Lavelle Moore, and they tried to kill me and Blondie. They ambushed us at a McDonald's that was over there. It's not where it is now. It's on Long Beach Boulevard, down the street from where it is now. So we were coming out of the drive-through, and these 3 were Michael DeRoe, Orlando Anderson, and Lavelle Moore Duck. They were waiting in the bushes, and that was their if they shot at us or tried to kill us, then that was their entry into the gang. So that's what they did. They start firing rounds at us, and me and Tim heard bullets hitting around our cars. We jump out, and these guys are running down the street to one of the main gang houses there. So we kind of cordoned it off, and they went in and arrested all 3 of them. And Lavelle Moore ended up being the shooter. They didn't really do nothing to Orlando or Michael DeRoe at the time.
You sure they ain't fantasizing that?
I don't know.
Because they were like, "How? Come on, man!" Like,
I have no idea. I have no idea whether there was fantasizing or not.
It's like them people too, man. Like it's crazy. It's like the internet is doing strange things to human beings, Vlad. I ain't gonna lie. Because the police, like I seen them, like, do you let them do a show, right? I seen you had Reggie Wright and them. They went to Southside and they did it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, bro. Y'all police. Like,
well, ex-police.
Go retire and kick it somewhere. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, though.
Hey, man, listen, everyone wants
that internet fame
Everyone
too,
wants fame these days.
Yeah,
police and otherwise. Snitches now are doing podcasts and,
That's
you know,
ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, next thing you know, pedophiles will be doing shows and try to justify their actions.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't surprise me. Not to say I support it, I don't. I'm just saying it just wouldn't surprise me.
No, for sure. These days, everything is weird, bro.
Yes.
Like, yeah, real shit.
What did you think when you first saw that interview with Keffe D that I did?
I'm trying to remember it.
He lays out the whole story.
I'm trying to remember it. You know, the only thing I can remember that stands out with him with me was like him claiming not to know me and all this shit. Then he turned around and say, "Oh, that's the little homie." Like, I just don't know, man. I don't know what happens to. I hope
he said you and Orlando weren't really friends, and
like, come on, bro. Like,
who is he? He don't know my sister. Don't know him from a man in the moon, cause she got on the. Who is this motherfucker? She acting like she know my baby. You know what I'm saying? And I told her that's Kathy cousin. This girl named Kathy from Santana. She don't know BG Knocc Out. She seen him. You know what I'm saying? Or Drayster. She don't know them.
Well, one of the things that the BG and Drayster said was that their adopted brother married Orlando's sister.
Their adopted brother?
Yeah. Do you know who married Orlando's sister?
It ain't their adopted brother.
I'm just going well off of what they said.
Yeah, you can't believe shit. Okay. Just like he said Orlando's best friend. He said
so you still maintain that they weren't best friends?
Come on, man.
Well, I remember
he said he called him that night. And by the way, it was only cell phone bill was $3,500, man.
Well,
the fuck he gonna call you for? Why he gonna call you, dude? Out of all people, he gonna call you. What you King Kong or something? Who are you? Man, come on, man. All of a sudden we gonna call you. You gonna rescue us or something? Man, we ain't gonna call you. You a rapper, dude. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, he did say that, and I brought that up, saying that, you know, you denied the fact that, you know, that they were best friends and everything. And what he said was like, well, Keefe was older. He didn't know what Orlando was doing, you know, and so forth. You know, they're the same age.
You want me to tell you who Orlando's best friend was?
Who's that?
You looking at him.
I hope that's not a thing when you get older, you just turn into this bozo. You know what I'm saying? Like, just become a whole weirdo or something. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't get it. And I don't understand him getting on this platform or any platform talking about that situation because people are still affected by it. You know what I mean? I just didn't agree with the whole thing, and I don't think it was smart on his part.
Well, I remember leading up to that interview, me and him briefly spoke, but I was doing a lot of my talking with his co-writer, right? And I remember they gave me a copy of the book that had just been released. Yeah. We went through the book, and I said, "Is Keefe willing to talk about all the stuff in this book?" And he said, "Yeah." I said,
"See, that was just
okay. Well, if you wrote a book, I mean, usually I don't talk about murders,
right?
You know, but if you notice, you know, my style, I don't talk about open cases. I don't talk about stuff past the statute of limitations. You know, within the statute of limitations,
right?
You know, none of my interviews had ever been part of a case until this case.
I don't think nobody even knew he had a book, bro. Like, and it had to be people like in the family or something, or like his hood, because I never even knew he had a book. You know what I'm saying? Especially about that shit. Like,
yeah,
that just wasn't smart. It was like what OJ did, but at least OJ beat the case before he wrote the damn book. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I was just retarded. It was just not smart.
Keefe was living in Las Vegas, and then his wife's house gets raided in Henderson.
Yeah.
You know, in connection to the Tupac murder. The house was searched. They found kind of like some newspaper clippings and stuff like that, but nothing really, they found some bullets, but the bullets had nothing to do with nothing. When you heard about his house being raided, what did you think?
I just was like, damn, here we go. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what I said. I was like, I pretty much said he put his foot in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because that thing was that Proffer agreement, right? That was the confession thing that he did on, which is those tapes that I'm sure you heard and that I heard, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he should have known, because from what I heard, I think it was Reggie Wright, me seeing him on the interview talk about how that Proffer agreement only covered him in California.
Well, it covered him that day.
Oh, just that day, and that was
That's
it?
how Proffer agreements work.
See, I don't know.
A Proffer agreement, it's also known as Queen for a day.
See, I don't know.
And that's the day part is very important. That means, okay, let's say I'm the police, right? Like people like to claim.
See, people already think you the police, man. Right. I don't know if you
Let's just say I'm the police.
No,
I catch you in something. Yeah. We sit down and I say, okay, I'm going to give you immunity to everything. You tell me all the stuff I want to know about murders, drug dealing, all these crimes. You tell me everything. I say, cool. None of this can be used against you. But if you turn around and then do an interview the next day, saying the exact same thing, that is not covered by the Proffer agreement.
Oh, wow.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The police have, and this is what I realized over time. The police have such an unfair advantage.
Absolutely.
Over civilians. Like, for example, I could sit down with you, if I'm the police, once again, I could sit down with you and say, let's just say you got caught in a crime. I could say that your friend over there just told me that you did it. Mm-hmm. He's confessing, he signed the paperwork, he's going to be testifying against you. And if you say, he is? Okay, well, he did it. He's the shooter.
Right.
I could be lying.
Yep.
Legally. I could be legally lying to you.
You can't be legally
and I'm not
liable.
I'm not liable for lying to you. If I triggered you.
The so-called defendant is liable for lying to the cops. Like,
exactly.
So
you could be liable for lying to me as the cops, but me as a cop can, once it comes up to court, say, yeah, I lied to him to get a confession.
Yeah, so look, when I was in college and I had to take, I was going to college in prison, actually, so I was doing like courses or whatever, and they made us take psychology 101. And one of the things in the book that I remember vividly was like how they use psychology, in these investigations and shit like that. So what the cops would do, like, just say if a shooting happened somewhere and there's witnesses, they'll come with this photo pack, which is usually like 6 to 8 photos.
Yes.
And then they'll show a person, do you see the person that came through here shooting? And then the people might be like, no, they don't look familiar. And then they'll double back, like in a week or two, or, in a matter of days, with that same photo pack. And the fact that they already saw those photos, now when they come back with those same photos, somebody's gonna look familiar because they didn't showed it to them before.
Oh.
So that's one of the psychological trips that they, that they use against people too. You feel me? So like you said, a lot of unfair advantages, and it's a lot of psychology that the average person ain't ready to, to deal with. You know what I mean? So they use a lot of shit.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, if you tell a person that their friend is going to put them in prison and tell on them, that person may lie just to protect themselves. And retaliate. Oh, no, he's a shooter.
Right.
Even though the shooter might be some other person, or you don't even know who the shooter is, but you're scared this person's going to testify against you, which is all based on a lie. For example, like, when your lawyer is in a room with you,
right,
that's supposed to be off limits.
Right.
But, I've always heard stories that the police could listen in, and then, now it can't be admissible, but they're getting information that they could potentially then use against you. It's just an unfair system.
It's so
It's just
unfair.
an unfair system.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay to be a criminal.
Right.
Like, honestly, like it
really does.
It really does.
It really does.
It's always going to be against you.
Yeah,
when you see a federal indictment, the United States of America versus the whole country's against you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to win. If they want you, they're going to do whatever it takes to put you.
I think the biggest criminals are the ones who so-called who are, you know, are there to uphold the law. You know what I'm saying? Because they use the most tricky shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I've seen my entire life, from foster care, you know what I'm saying, to juvenile, you know, to prison. Like it's just they bend the rules all the time to their own advantage.
Well, the house raid happens, and Keefe actually reached out to me because we had already done 2 interviews. Yeah. And he had done lots of other interviews. He did Art of Dialogue, he did Camp Capone. Yeah. Did a bunch of interviews. He reached out to me, said, I want to do a 3rd interview. And I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, well, I want a deposit this time. And I'm like, okay. He's never asked for one before. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay him this deposit knowing it's probably going to go up in smoke. Yeah. Because he's already been, you know, already had his house raided. You assumed the arrest was coming. Oh,
this was after he tried.
Yes. Okay. So after the house was raided, before he got arrested, he called me up and asked for a deposit. I gave him a deposit. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was a few dollars. And sure enough, he gets arrested. Yeah. My deposit's gone. It's cool. I'm not tripping. When he actually got arrested, this was about 2.5 months later. Yeah. After the arrest. How did you feel?
Like I said, man, I just, you know, I just think I just think he put himself there, you know what I mean? And I just feel like, you know, and even me, bro, it's like, okay, we hashed that, we spoke about the situation. You asked me about it. I told you what I knew, what I knew or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you know, bringing it up to the point to where you're opening up old wounds, you know what I'm saying, when somebody has passed away, you know, on both sides, you know what I'm saying? Like as you know, that's out there. Most of the people supposedly in that car, quote unquote, are gone, right?
Well, everyone's gone except for him.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, why wouldn't you leave that where it is?
Well, yeah,
I just don't fucking understand.
I talked to Greg Kading. Not only did Keefe confess to the whole thing, but at one point they tried to get him to be an informant, where they actually flew him out to New York to meet him, for him to meet with Eric Von Zip to try to, and he wore a wire, according to Greg Kading. And, you know, I remember when I brought this up, Keefe, nah, that's not true, but Greg Kading actually sent me the plane tickets with his name on the plane ticket. And he was like, how would I have these plane tickets, like, if this wasn't true? So, but...
I mean, but...
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. I mean, Eric Von Zip at that point was too deep in the game to have fallen for it. And, you know, Von Zip's name has been coming up, man, all over the place.
Is he alive still?
No, he's dead.
Okay.
He died of cancer.
Damn.
Some years back.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, so this is why people could kind of freely talk about him.
Okay.
He was the one, according to Keefe's book, that provided the gun that they used to kill Tupac. That's what Eric Von Zip was. Boy. So, leading up to the arrest, there's a grand jury. A lot of people were involved in that. Reggie Wright, I believe, was involved in it. They actually tried to reach out to me multiple times and try to get my raw footage from this interview, and I always just ignored their phone calls.
Oh, okay.
My thing is, if you sit down with me, I'm not going to then cooperate with the police against you. I don't care what you say, whether I agree with you or whether I don't. If you sit down with me, I'm not going to turn around and then try to hurt you by trying to put you in jail afterwards. Regardless of what people like to say about me.
Right.
You know, I have the voicemails from Las Vegas PD. Oh, you know, Vlad, can you please call me? Can you please call me? And I'm like, I'm ignoring this. There's nothing that they have anyways. Yeah. You know, that I have that they could use regardless. And I remember at one point during the first interview, Keefe asked if he could just go outside and talk to the co-writer. And when he walked outside, my cameraman was like, his mic is still on. And I said, turn it off. I said, I'm not going to catch people on hot mics. Like that's just not what I do. So that may have been an opportunity to catch him confessing to something, but I didn't want any pieces of that.
Yeah, hell no.
You know, I mean, my thing is like, whatever you say in front of this camera, like there's no gray area right now. You're wearing a mic. There's 3 cameras pointing at you. There's another microphone on top of your head. Like, you know you're being recorded.
Absolutely.
There's no gray area here, right?
Right.
You know everything you say is going to publicly be released.
Right.
But if you walk out the room, I'm not going to continue to record you.
Right.
The grand jury was interesting. A guy named Dirt Rock was part of this grand jury.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Nah.
He was allegedly part of, Southside.
No, I don't know.
Well, Dirt Rock and Big Dre were roommates at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Dirt Rock, and me and him had a conversation about this. We were supposed to do an interview. I don't know, if it'll ever happen or not. But he claimed that Big Dre was actually the shooter.
Who claimed that?
Dirt
Rock did?
Dirt Rock. Number one, do you know Big Dre?
Yeah, Dre. That was Freaky Dre. That was my partner. Yeah.
Yeah, he's passed away.
Yeah, SIP to the homie. Yeah, for sure.
He passed away. I guess he was just overweight and had bad health situations and ended up dying through natural causes.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But he claimed, in the grand jury that Dre was the shooter, but because Orlando was the one that got jumped, it made more sense for Orlando to take the credit for it. And also, he didn't want the heat of being Tupac's murderer. So he just let Orlando run with that story.
Who let him run with it? Because that wasn't his story. Who let him run?
Orlando. He claimed that Orlando ran with that story when Dre was actually the shooter. Now, to be fair,
yeah,
I know someone that was in the car behind Tupac when the shooting occurred. And this person claimed that when they saw the arm stick out the window with the gun, it was a big, meaty arm. It wasn't like a skinny arm like Orlando had.
Come on, man.
Now, when I brought this up to Greg Kading, he said, well, he may have remembered this that way, but in the midst of a shooting,
meaty arm. Like, who the fuck? Come on, bro. Yeah, white hairs on it and shit. Like,
listen, Greg said that in the midst of a violent situation,
like
you
that
don't
when
know.
a shooting is happening.
Yeah,
that's not even. Come on, bro.
Okay, so
I understand, but I get where you coming from. But that shit is
talking.
just like,
I'm not the one that's making up these stories. Like,
I understand.
You know what I mean?
I understand. But it's just this shit is like. Now it's getting into you. It's like fucking comic books now. Like the big meaty arm, man. Fuck out of here.
Well, even Suge, when he did his podcast, he said Orlando wasn't the shooter. But Suge has an interesting, track record when it comes to stuff like this.
I mean, man.
He even said free Keffe D.
I don't think Orlando did it. I don't really know, but I just think Keefe is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the crazy part about if he made it all up and he's in jail for it, that'll really suck. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just a jackass all the way around. Like,
okay, so
that's crazy.
Orlando's gone. Big Dre is gone.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any truth with Big Dre being the shooter?
Hell nah, bro.
No.
Hell nah.
Did you and Orlando ever have a conversation about this?
Nah.
Nah.
But the only thing he ever told me that he was being accused of it. He ain't never said he ever did no shit like that. Yeah.
Well, because it's
he
a murder.
Just told me like, yeah. He was like, he's like they trying to say this about me and shit like that.
And what did he say?
And then it makes sense that they would put him there. You know what I'm saying? Because of the situation. But he never like claimed to do no shit like that. Hell no.
Okay. Do you ever hear situations where a murder happens or a shooting happens and one person takes credit for it that didn't really do it?
That happens every day, Vlad.
They take credit for a shooting they didn't do.
Look, Compton Menace said a lyric like that on a song that I did with him that's unreleased. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the lyric, so don't get it fucked up, though. It's just quoting the lyric. He was like, he said, I catch a body and watch the next nigga claim it. So people do shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? To try to give themselves credibility in the street. You know what I'm saying? As if they the person of fear. You understand what I'm saying? But,
yeah, I remember always hearing stories when I've interviewed cops, over the years, who would tell me how a lot of dudes with tattoo tears didn't really, not everyone, but certain guys never killed anyone, but they would use it as intimidation.
Yeah.
Because when people would see that, they would assume this person's a murderer and they'd be scared of him.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yep.
And that's, things become, you got to understand, like, it's just like how the Crip walk, for instance. It's a real, you know, you can, back in our day, you could die, get caught doing that dance. Now, it's little white kids in Canada doing it.
You got a stripper doing it. Did you see the stripper doing the
This
Crip
is what I'm
walk?
trying to say. Like,
They're
so
calling
it's
her
like,
called her Scripper.
I think after a while, sometimes shit becomes so like shit be so real and pure, and then it just get watered down over time.
Oh yeah, no. When you get tattooed, they don't make you, show your arrest record.
Of course. But that was dudes that was in jail for murder getting those tattoos. They wasn't on the street getting a tattoo tear. They was in jail for the murder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this known, I'm in here for 187.
Right.
So put this tear on my shit. It wasn't no motherfuckers on the street.
Right,
And
but
the
there's
fucking
guys on the street that get
tattoo
those
parlor.
tears.
I know. That's why I say that's what ended up happening. You know what I'm saying? Because the older generation that starts something, once it dies out, the people that come up under them just ain't gonna stick to it as quite, as they would. You know what I mean? So
Keffe D gets arrested and he gets charged with murder. He pleads not guilty. As he should.
As he should.
Some things happen and essentially he won't be facing the death penalty. But he is 60 years old.
Yeah.
So any substantial length of time is essentially a life sentence. If you get 10 years...
Yeah, 60, yeah, shit.
At 60, with, he had cancer and all types of other health issues right now. The prison system has notoriously bad health care.
Yeah.
You don't have access to good doctors, whatever else. It's a bad situation. He originally got bail. Well, originally he got no bail, but then I think they raised it to, they allowed a $750,000 bail. It's funny because I whacked 100 here the other day, and he said that he's actually considering paying off Keefe's bail in exchange for him doing like a documentary.
Oh, okay.
Which, kind of makes sense.
Keffe D got a bail. He's supposed to be home.
That's up to law
He's supposed to be
enforcement.
home in the next month. I've been thinking about going to bail him out.
You gonna bail out Keffe D?
Yeah, it's only $75,000.
Well, because it's $1 million bond?
Like $750.
$750, so you got to put up $75,000.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to get him and what the stipulations that I do the series on him. People will watch it.
Yeah, man, I feel sorry for him, bro. I don't want him to be there. I'm not happy that he's there, but I mean, he brought it on himself, and there's really nothing I could really say. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, it was just a dumb move, bro, to write a book about some shit, unsolved murder, and then to sit up and speak on some shit like that. And, and trying to get interviewed and get money, like, that's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to call that. I just think it was retarded, like a dumb move on his part.
Well, Keefe's lawyer did an interview in Las Vegas where he basically laid out the defense. And he said that Keffe D is a liar. He made up all these stories, originally to get out of
have they did a psychiatric evaluation on him? Like,
I don't know.
He could be losing it, Vlad.
I don't know. But originally, because remember when Greg Kading first arrested him, he had the PCP case.
Okay.
And he was facing 25 years over that. And
was he smoking it though?
No, he was selling it.
Oh, okay.
No. He had a whole operation and they found a ton of PCP and everything else like that. So originally the proffer agreement was based on them dropping the PCP case. So his lawyer says, he made up all this stuff to get out of his case. And later on, he needed money. And, and I paid him for interviews. I've never hid that fact. So he would hit up VladTV and all these other platforms for money. But the whole thing is made up. He wasn't even in Las Vegas when this whole situation happened.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why he need to be evaluated, in my opinion, bro. Because it's all over the place. You know what I mean? And then you got to think a lot of times when people is in hot water, it seems like they'll pretty much say anything. You know what I mean? To get out of it. Everybody just ain't got that kind of heart, man, to stand on, the shit that they get caught for. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, the trial originally was set for June. It got pushed back. The trial date is now on November 4th. So it's, a few months off if it doesn't get pushed back again. Because these things do get pushed back over and over again.
Yeah, I hope he make it through, bro. I just, I know certain people rooting for him to go down, but it's Just a fucked up situation, man. I don't know. It's bad for him being 60 years old in jail, possibly can get a life sentence or anything close to it, which is like 25 years, you know what I'm saying, is a life sentence, you know what I'm saying, from the 90s and shit like that, which is, you know, now that you 60 years old, it's like, bro, it's just not a good look. And then your family, you got to understand, it's like you put your family, because I think he got a son that's with the same name and all that shit, and it's like, now you just put your family in a situation that didn't have nothing to do with them. And that's what I was saying about, you know what I mean, about him even speaking about his nephew. It's like, dude, your nephew got children, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
Why would you put that type of bad light on your family?
One of the big magazines from France, this guy's writing an article for that magazine. He flew out here to do a bunch of interviews about the Keffe D situation. So he met up with me to interview me about this whole situation. And he said that he had had conversations with Orlando's mom. And he said that Orlando's mom is really upset at Keffe D.
Yeah, wouldn't you be if he was your... Yeah, man, I mean, it's like, yo, it's just really a horrible situation, bro. Like, it just wasn't smart on his end, and I wish him well, bro. Despite all the bullshit he said about me, I don't got no hatred for him in my heart or nothing like that. I just, I hope he come up out of it, because he do got a family. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you find out that he got convicted, how would you feel?
I wouldn't feel anything. I don't really feel nothing now. Like, you know what I mean? It don't got nothing to do with me. It's something that he gotta walk through. Like, when I went to prison, I had to carry that shit on my back. I had children on the street. I left my family, you feel me? I left my mother, my brothers, my siblings, like, so, everybody gotta walk their own struggle, man. Like, he gotta live with that and deal with it. Like I said, I wish him the best, like, but I don't feel no type of way.
Well, Suge Knight on his podcast says something interesting. I guess Big Dre, who, like we said, was one of the guys in the car when it happened, I guess he had a independent record label, and Suge claimed that Snoop and Daz did a song for Big Dre after Tupac died.
That's possible. They had money, so I mean, they ain't like Snoop and them had a lot of money from Death Row, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if Dre had the paper to pay them, yeah, shit. Like, they rappers, you can't. Come on, man. Money talks. Motherfuckers gonna get on the song. You see what Kodak Black did with 6ix9ine, bro. Like, after all the shit, you know what I'm saying? But he gave him $1 million. Who would have turned down $1 million? Most niggas ain't gonna, no matter what people say, niggas ain't gonna turn that $1 million down, bro.
Right.
Cause you ain't like you doing a crime with the nigga. Like, you feel me? Like, it's a fucking song. Like, if you can't separate money and bullshit, then that's your problem. You know what I mean? But I mean, they probably did, bro.
Well, I remember Orlando was a rapper.
Nah, he was trying to start a label as well.
Well, like, he had a mixtape.
Man.
I have it.
Maybe
I have
he tried
pictures of it.
Okay, maybe
Have you ever seen it?
No, I think it was a compilation that he was using his name. Did you hear him rapping on it?
I haven't actually heard the mixtape. I just saw.
I believe, because look, when I went to jail, I had all this equipment that I ended up pawning, a bunch of beat machines and keyboards and shit that I had through my brother. I had gave him the receipts, and he went and got it out and put it in his studio. You know what I mean?
Hold on, I actually have it.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I don't recall my boy trying to rap ever though. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think he's...
It's called Success. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I think that was a compilation that he was...
Success Records Entertainment.
He was trying to put me on there, but I ended up going on a run.
This is the back cover right here. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's rapping. I haven't actually heard it.
I don't believe so, bro. Because that just wasn't his thing, you know what I mean? But who knows? Shit. Maybe he got high or something and sipped a little drink and went in that motherfucker and tried to rap. I don't fucking know. But that wasn't his thing, though. But I remember him trying to formulate a label because he was asking me about doing some work and shit for him or whatnot. And like I said, when I went to prison, I had to pawn all this. I had bought a bunch of studio equipment and I had pawned it because I was on the run. You know what I'm saying? And he went in Like my brother knew what the receipts were when it got it and gave it to him, and he went and got it all out and put it in the studio.
Right around 6 months after Tupac's death, Biggie was killed.
Yeah.
Now, the Tupac case, once Keefe did the interview and all the pieces fit together, I pretty much, I've said I've solved Tupac's murder. I mean, I say that sort of tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I can't solve anyone's murder.
Right.
Only the police can.
Yeah, of course.
But I laid out the most detailed
I understand what
story.
you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand.
I laid out the story, which essentially told everyone this is how it happened.
Yeah.
The Biggie murder has always been a little weird to me. But recently, I keep hearing the same name over and over again responsible for Biggie's murder. That is a guy named Poochie. Poochie was a mob pyru who was known to be a shooter. By the way, Poochie's dead. So we're not talking about a living person who can get charged with this. But I remember Greg Kading said this. When I brought this up to Mob James, he said, yep, I'm pretty sure that's true. He knew Poochie and this is the type of guy that would do this type of thing. And when I had Whack 100 on my show, we talked about Biggie's murder and I asked him who did it. He said, Poochie.
Wow.
And what he said was that Biggie was caught up in East Coast politics and Eric Von Zipp's name came up again. You're saying he got killed over East Coast politics?
Yes, East Coast politics. That had nothing to do with us.
Can you go into any more details?
Let's just say...
See the wheels turning right now.
I'm going to say it like this, and it's going to open up conversation. DJ K. Slay taught me, he would say, what you put in the universe comes back 360, right? It's a lot of shit coming back on Diddy right now, right? And that situation had nothing to do with Biggie, but everything to do with another politic going on. At the time, Diddy's mama was dating a guy named Zip.
Eric Von Zip.
Big Zip.
Name always comes up.
Always comes up.
Always comes up.
Right.
Shout out to my man Bill Haney, who was just here. You knew him as well.
Yeah.
TK Kirkland was living with him at one point.
We was on the damn Straight Stud Magazine boat party. And he passed shortly after that.
Yeah.
But, it was things going on. The shooter was paid to do that, right? He's dead, right? And it was
the guy who shot Biggie.
Yeah, he's
And
dead.
you're saying you know who that is?
Everybody know who that is, right? He's sitting there.
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
So can you say who it is?
He's dead. Named Poochie.
Poochie's a West Coast guy.
Yeah, but
one of Suge's guys, actually.
No, I can't say Suge's guy. He motherfucking.
Well, he was affiliated with Suge.
Pyru, so we are affiliated in that case.
Eric Von Zip was actually dating Diddy's mom at the time. And remember, Eric was allegedly the guy that provided the gun that killed Tupac, and he was sort of the go-between between Death Row and Bad Boy. And this guy, was a certified criminal. I remember I interviewed Mike Tyson. He did a whole story about how Eric Von Zip basically ripped off Don King for like $500,000.
Oh, wow.
And TK Kirkland knew him really well. And, there's always been the story that, because even Keffe D in our interview said after Biggie got killed, he said that Puffy called him and said, was that us? And allegedly there's $1 million payment that was supposed to come from Puffy to Keffe D for the murder. And the story is that Eric Von Zip was the person that was supposed to hand over the money, but Eric actually kept the money and bought a club with the money. When I talked to TK Kirkland, he said, yep. He's like, I think that's what happened. Right around that time, Eric Von Zip suddenly bought a club out of the blue and so forth.
Wow, man.
And yeah, Poochie was killed shortly after that whole situation. And I guess the guy who killed him was also dead. And, it's a whole clusterfuck
yeah.
on a whole different level. Have you ever heard any of this stuff?
Just little pieces, man, but I don't try to listen to this shit, Vlad, to be honest with you, because it's like, You gotta understand, murder, you don't want to know nothing about no shit like that.
True.
I don't really give a shit, man. I just think it's, the craziest part about this whole thing that you're telling me about is all of these dudes saying who did what. Like, that shit is insane to me, because a lot of these dudes come from the street, and I just don't fucking understand. Like, I don't know what it is when people get older, they just let their mouth get real loose, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy, bro. Like, I don't know, but I don't know, Vlad. I don't know shit about that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when I brought up, I just interviewed Vanilla Ice in our first interview.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I know who killed Biggie. When I brought up Poochie's name.
What the fuck Vanilla Ice would know? How?
Vanilla Ice was in the mix, man. Whether you want to admit it or not, Vanilla Ice was a diamond-selling artist.
All right.
And he was hooked up with the whole Suge situation, right?
Not like that, bro. He was
that.
way out of the picture.
You're right. But when I brought up Poochie's name, Vanilla Ice said, yep.
See, that's what I'm
saying. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We're talking about a bunch of dead people at this point. But it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, it's very wild.
Very wild.
You said it. Yeah.
It's very wild.
This shit is crazy, bro. Vanilla Ice, like, now you know who killed everybody. Like, come on, bro.
Well, speaking of Diddy.
Yeah. Oh, Diddy. The Diddler.
The Diddler. Yes.
Yeah.
First came the Cassie lawsuit, which he settled in less than a day.
Yeah.
When you heard about that lawsuit and all the allegations and like him blowing up Kid Cudi's car and beating her up and all the drugs
I never
and
knew
everything.
about all of that part. I learned about that later. Like, I just learned about most of this shit recently, but I'm not too surprised because of how the industry is and the people that's in it. It's a bunch of fucked up people in the music industry, unfortunately. Go ahead.
Well, have you ever been around Diddy?
Of course. Yeah, I told you I was in the studio when Bone Thugs and Biggie did the song Notorious Thugs.
Right.
Yeah, and I was around him actually when Keffe D met him from the Dice Game and all the shit. So I've been around him a couple of times at the summer jams and shit like that, yeah.
Okay. Wait, so you around him and Keffe D at the same time?
Absolutely.
And what was their interaction like?
It was a dice game going on, and they was, they both were shooting big money. So
how much money?
I can't recall, but it was more than the average dice game that
so
you
was thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
were changing hands.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the lawsuit happened, and then his houses got raided by the feds. And that was when everyone said, oh, okay, this is serious now.
Yeah,
because
I saw that because they had his kids. They had his kids in handcuffs.
Oh yeah. His kids were arrested. Well, not arrested.
Not arrested, but handcuffed.
They're handcuffed.
Yeah.
Diddy's son makes a song.
Yeah, bro.
Which I thought was silly.
That was very silly.
But everyone was still like, well, did it happen? Did it not happen? Because look, a civil lawsuit, by definition, is a money grab.
Absolutely.
Right? You could say, oh, no, it's justice. No, it's a money grab.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't for money, then you would sue someone for $1.
Absolutely.
You don't sue someone for $30 million.
Absolutely.
If it's not about money.
Absolutely. But didn't she do music?
She did.
Was he responsible for her career?
Well, she was signed to Bad Boy for a 10-album deal.
Okay, then. Only reason why I said that because Diddy has a reputation for not paying people their, you know what I'm saying,
Somewhat.
their just due. You know what I'm saying? According to the Locks, according to Mace, and a lot of the first people that got Bad Boy to where it was.
Yeah.
So maybe she felt like the money grab was what, you know what I'm saying? Maybe she seen an opportunity to get what she probably was owed.
Well,
I don't know. I'm speculating.
I think this is an important takeaway in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everyone to listen to this because this applies to a lot of aspects in people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie had one hit song, Me and You, right? That was the name of the song. Ryan Leslie, who was her boyfriend at the time, wrote and produced it. It became a hit. Diddy signed her to a 10-album deal.
Mm-hmm. And
for the next 10 years, she had no other hits. She had a few songs that did a little something, but if you talk to anyone, who knows music on any level, it's very clear that she's not very talented musically.
That's fucked.
She just isn't. No, I'll just be honest. She's no Mariah Carey. She's no Whitney Houston.
Well, okay.
No. Let me just finish what I'm saying.
Man.
No. Let me finish what I'm saying.
I think you're great. No, I'm just fucking with you.
No. Let me finish what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
For 10 years, she was signed to Bad Boy, and they would do a single here, a single there. They'd put it out. It did nothing.
But we don't really know all the work she put in.
Well, she would go to the studio all the time, but ultimately none of the songs really did much. And throughout the course of all the abuse that would happen, whenever she would leave, like, and this was in the lawsuit, like Diddy's manager, James Cruz, who I know, would hit her up and be like, yo, if you don't call Diddy back, we're not going to put out your single. Mm-hmm. So for 10 years, he would dangle this in front of her face of like, yo, like, I'm going to make you a star. Just wait.
Just wait.
Yeah, just wait. Just keep rocking with me. Keep having sex with me and keep doing these freak offs, and eventually I'll make you a star.
Let me tell you this. This is something I just seen on a podcast, right?
Okay.
They said that Kim Porter,
yes.
God bless the dead, when she was around and she supposedly, this is a hypothetical, this shit I see on the internet, when she was being abused by Diddy, quote unquote.
Which is true. I just interviewed Roger Bonds, who was the security.
Okay, but they say Cassie was right there egging Diddy on and, like pretty much parading
there was a competition between these two women.
Okay, then. So what I'm saying is
because what's her name? Because Kim had 3 kids by Diddy, including her first son, which he adopted. So technically 4 kids. But Cassie was the younger, prettier, one that he was messing with.
Yeah.
You do know, by the way, that the reason why Kim Porter ultimately just broke up with Diddy was because Diddy had a baby with Tupac's ex, who was also one of her best friends, at the same time that she was pregnant with the twins. They're like a month apart. So the whole Diddy-Tupac connection is really weird, man.
I heard.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah. No, Cassie was probably messing with her.
I mean, it just seemed like a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, Cassie wanted to get married
story.
to Puffy. Like, he never married her. But my point is this, what I'm saying about her musical ability, like, the reason why, listen, the money was there, right? But there's lots of rich guys out there, right? Pretty girl could get a rich guy, whatever.
Right.
The fact that she never was able to look at herself realistically and say, something, this music thing isn't really for me. I just don't have what it takes. And this guy keeps dangling this carrot in front of me, and I keep sticking around and having to go through all this abuse because he's dangling this carrot in front of me.
I think she had other potential, Vlad, like modeling.
But he wasn't dangling the modeling in front of her. He was dangling the music.
But I'm saying she was marketable. She was
when she left Bad Boy, nobody wanted her. There was no bidding war for Cassie.
Probably after you done fucked all over.
No, man,
like,
listen. Viable artists, when they leave a label, other labels want them. Nobody wanted her because she's not musically talented. Had she just been realistic with herself, all I'm saying is, had she just been realistic with herself and said, something, I had one hit song, but anyone could have a hit song. I could have a hit song. You could have another hit song.
What's the
you had a
Kevin
hit song.
Federline, yeah, but Kevin Federline
had no hit songs.
No, but his baby mom, Britney
Spears.
She can't fucking sing either.
No, but she has she could dance.
Well, she used to, yeah.
She had, what I'm saying, she could dance. She was an entertainer. You can't downplay.
I think
Britney
most of her
Spears.
career was paid for, but
Britney Spears was an incredible entertainer.
I think if he would have put the right team with Cassie, potentially, bro, I'm telling you, with fucking auto-tune and all that shit, you can't tell me.
What I'm saying is this.
I'm just saying.
Had she just said, something? This guy's selling me a dream that I know is not real. I had a hit song on Accident. And
accident.
It is. Anyone can be a one-hit wonder.
You just shooting her down.
I'm not shooting her down. I'm just saying realistically.
Cassie ain't gonna never fuck with you.
That's okay. She's not gonna fuck with me anyways. I don't expect any Cassie interviews ever. She signed an NDA. It's whatever. She took a big bag from Puffy. She signed an NDA. She'll never do an interview.
Yeah.
In fact,
I wouldn't either after that money though. Shit.
No, listen. All I'm saying is,
I'll buy your ass. Like, you want to interview with me?
Right. All I'm saying is this applies to people going through their lives. Like, don't let people sell you dreams that you know just aren't real. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, be honest with yourself.
But that's kind of what the world is now,
ability.
Vlad. The world
be
is
honest
fake.
with your own ability. Had she said, okay, 2 years in, yes, this guy's promising to give me another hit song. No hit songs are coming. I'm going to the studio.
To your point, though. What are you getting
My thing is that she could have walked out way earlier and had a much better life.
Anybody that's been abused by somebody could do
exactly.
that. And that, you know.
But he's keeping her around for this dream that she in her heart knew wasn't realistic.
Yeah, so, I mean.
That's all I'm saying. Be honest. Had you been honest with yourself, had she been honest with herself, she could have had a better future than to sit there coming back over and over again because her single's going to get released. Her single's going to get released. And none of these singles went anywhere.
I see it different, Vlad. I think she had a lot of potential, man.
I disagree.
I disagree with you. I think she could have been made into something had the right group of people been around her and kind of
she had one of the hottest hit makers in the world of all time.
That don't mean he was the right person for her, though. That don't always mean anything.
I mean, you can say that. You can say that. You know, I mean, yeah. I mean, her only hit didn't come from him. Came from Ryan Leslie.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, man, look, like, I really wanted to be a producer at one point in my life. I spent years making beats, working with underground artists, literally hundreds of hours in front of my MPC 60.
Vlad, what happened, man?
One day, I just woke up and said, I will never be Dr. Dre or DJ Premier. But I need to go shift my life to do something. So maybe
you ever seen that meme, this meme, where you have, it's two people, and it's like one person above the other, and they both have these picks, and they digging in the wall, and there's a bunch of diamonds on the other side. One dude give up and walk away right before the last hit. Yeah. And then the other dude stays there and he gets to the diamonds. You don't think that possibly could be you right now?
No.
What?
No.
No, for real?
What I realized over life, this is what I realized throughout the course of my life.
Okay.
Success, when it comes to success, it's more important to know when to quit than when to keep going. Because most things you try will not work out.
You ever seen, what's that movie called? Acrimony or something like that with Taraji P. Henson?
I'm not sure.
I think it's called Acrimony, right? And it was the same situation. This guy, he had this invention, right? And I'm talking about he went through the fucking ringer trying to get this invention up and running. And it didn't happen until like the end of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never gave up, but eventually he made the invention and got it patented and all this shit and got rich off of it.
Yes.
So I don't necessarily agree with you 100%.
Well, look, like,
I know it's just a movie,
with
but
some people, it will eventually happen, and they actually do have the talent and the, you know, and ultimately the you know, the work ethic to get there. I realized at one point I simply don't have the musical genius that the people I look up to have. No matter how much I worked at, Dr. Dre was just naturally better than me.
Yeah, Dr. Dre Premier, is some other shit.
That's what I was aiming towards. My thing was like, I didn't want to be a middle of the road.
You didn't want to be like,
I wanted to be a superstar in my field. When I became
I think you have to be born them, dude.
That's what I'm saying. To a certain degree. When I abandoned being a producer and became a mixtape DJ, I won Mixtape of the Year.
Okay.
With the Tupac Rap Phenomenon mixtape. I became a superstar in the mixtape field. And I ran that as far as it could run. And when I became an interviewer, I became one of the biggest interviewers ever in hip hop. Right. I became great because I abandoned the things that I was okay at.
Okay.
I wasn't a horrible producer, but I was just okay. The lawsuit happened.
Yeah.
Puffy's house would get raided. And then the video comes out. You watched it?
Oh, the hallway shit.
The hallway at the Intercontinental.
Yeah, I seen that shit. It was fucked up.
That was hard to watch.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was hard to watch.
But it was like shit. It was worse videos though. Ray Rice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Knocked the girl out.
Yeah.
That's some fuck. Any nigga that hit women like that, in my opinion, especially if she didn't sock you in your face or something, you know what I'm saying, or do some horrible shit that you couldn't. I can't fuck with that. I can't fuck with it, and I can't respect no nigga that kick and beat women. That shit bothers my soul, bro.
I've dealt with abusive women before.
Yeah,
you know,
me too.
And I would try to subdue them, try to grab them, you know, keep them from stop hitting me.
As you should.
I've never hit a woman in my life.
Yeah, me either.
And I never will.
Well, in the second grade, but I was only like 7.
I've never struck, punched, slapped, nothing. But I've had grabbed women and stopped them from hitting me.
Of course.
And I remember talking to Roger Bonds, and he was saying that there were situations where Puffy and Cassie were in the car, and like Cassie would just punch Puffy in the face, and she'd be wearing a ring, and she would cut his face, and they'd start to fight.
Now I can't blame nobody. Right. I'm just saying,
well,
bro.
Okay, so my thing
you
was
can't
like
punch nobody in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't
exactly. So I was like, listen, I heard that it was abuse both ways. I wasn't exactly sure, but when I saw that video, I'm like, oh, nah. Clearly, regardless of what happened prior to that video, Diddy was no longer...
Okay, did you hear the alleged story behind it?
What's the alleged story?
From some people's points of view is that I guess he had a bag full of money or something, which was the bag she had. Mm-hmm. And while he was in the shower, she ran out the room with it or something like that. This is what some people are alleging that happened too. Not that give him a reason to stomp her out and kick her in the face and shit. It doesn't. But
I'm sure that was not his life savings in that bag.
Of course. But maybe he was finna go do something important with it. I don't know, man. It could have been drugs. It could have been a lot of shit. I ain't trying to make no excuses for him.
Regardless of what happened before that video happened, Diddy was in no fear of his life. He was in no danger. He clearly pursued her. He was in a towel. You know, he chased after her, threw her on the ground, kicked her.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
And then dragged her back. There was nothing you could say to justify.
But what if before she did punch him in the face though?
Okay.
What if she was arguing?
But now she's gone. But now she's gone. Right?
Yeah.
If a girl punches you in the face and she runs out, if you go and chase her and beat her up, that's on you at that point.
You punch me in my face, I'm chasing you. I really.
Okay, but
that's a serious thing.
Okay, but realistically, we're both men. If I punch you in the face, it's not the same thing as a woman punching you in the face.
I understand.
A woman can't do a lot of damage to you.
I understand, but you know, our parents taught us if somebody hits you, you hit them back, and they didn't exclude women.
Yeah, but they probably should have.
Okay.
To be honest.
That's a white answer.
Especially today. No, seriously.
That's a white answer, middle of America answer, but yeah.
That's a legal answer.
I mean, I understand. That was a good one.
You know what I'm saying? That's a legal answer. You want to say it's white, you can say it's white.
My nigga's sharp on his feet.
I'm just saying.
Hey, no, but I don't, like I told you, I don't agree with nobody abusing women, bro. I hate that because I seen my mother go through that when I was a kid. So that always fucked with me. You understand what I'm saying? Even though my mother got hit, but she did a lot of hitting back. You know what I'm saying? I seen my mother stab the shit out of my little brother's father. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because they was drug addicts. They was on heroin and all this type of shit.
Right.
You feel me? So my mother just she wasn't going for that shit. You feel me?
I just did an interview with Roger Bonds, who was basically Diddy security for 10 years and saw a lot of this.
Yeah.
Was there, would have to break it up and everything. And the one thing he said that really just, in my mind, explained the whole situation was that Diddy and then eventually Cassie were both junkies.
I believe that.
Diddy was always on pills.
It sounds like junkie behavior.
This is this was in the lawsuit, and he confirmed this. Diddy would have doctors in Miami that would prescribe all the pills he wanted, and then when those prescriptions would run out, he would have Cassie go to the same doctor, get a prescription. She would bring the pills back. They would go on these 2-3 day drug binges in hotel rooms.
Yeah.
You know, and then
typical shit.
And then they would go and get IVs afterwards to try to recover from these drug binges. He was going to rehab. So when I see these situations, it's two drug addicts beating each other up high as hell.
It's like Pookie.
Yeah, some Pookie shit. Yeah, from New Jack City. It's Pookie.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you ain't
that's what it seemed like. It's like all of this shit sound like drug addict, like
drug
the
addict
overuse
behavior.
of drugs.
It's junkie behavior.
Yeah, seriously, that's what it sound like.
Yeah, man, listen, like, we've all seen drug addicts on the corner beating each other up, like couples and stuff like that. It's just you think of it differently because everyone's rich.
Right.
But drugs are drugs.
Drugs are drugs.
It affects poor people and rich people the same way.
Absolutely. And rich people have more access.
Exactly.
Because they got money. So, yeah.
So, yeah, it's basically just drugged out of your mind behavior. And obviously he's the man, so he's going to do a lot more damage.
Yeah.
You know, and every so often she would fight back and whatever else. But it's drug addict behavior.
It's definitely that.
That's how I view it. And then the video comes out, and then Diddy does the apology video.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
That shit was whack. That shit was weak as fuck.
Yeah.
The apology video didn't have no real...
substance?
Yeah, it just wasn't. It didn't look sincere. It didn't feel sincere. It was just like him trying to save face. And in my opinion, he should have came out a long time ago when these allegations start coming out. Because unfortunately, when you somebody prestigious, you know what I'm saying, and rich like that, and you're in entertainment, and you got these allegations coming against you, bro, you have to get in front of that shit before it snowballs out of control against you. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the way I see it. And it's like, even your kids got put in cuffs, you didn't come out and say shit. It's only to this, you know, only into that.
He did say something. He actually made a statement.
I didn't see no video, though. I mean, he made a statement, right? But
he said that all these allegations are false and he's going to clear his name and whatever
somebody
else.
Probably wrote it for him or some shit like that. But I don't know, man. I just think he should have been more hurt about his kids, seeing his kids in handcuffs and shit, in my opinion. You know? I don't know.
He said, for the last couple of weeks, I sat silently and watched people try to assassinate my character, destroy my reputation, my legacy. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things I'm being alleged of. I will fight for my name, my family, and for the truth.
You know what it looks like to me?
Did not age well.
Yeah, definitely. What it looks like to me with his whole situation, it seemed like all this shit didn't start happening to him until he got into it with that liquor company.
That's what people say.
That's what it looks like.
That's a conspiracy theory that may or may not be true. Maybe.
That's what it looked like, though.
Maybe.
I mean,
Who
unless
knows?
it's just coincidence that it all happened at the same time or it came around. You know what I'm saying? But
it could be.
It kind of
could
looked
not
like,
be. I mean,
it looked like
who
it's
knows?
a campaign being ran against him after him getting into it with these, I don't know if they super rich or whatever.
Oh, they're super rich.
Yeah.
Diageo's super rich.
Yeah, because it's like Michael, it's the same thing I seen with Michael Jackson. It seemed like once him and Tommy Mottola start having their little spat and Michael came out saying these things publicly about him, now all these allegations start coming against him. It seemed like this is a tactic of the super rich. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody stopped playing ball the way they want them to play, you know, they send these hit squads, which is like media campaigns nowadays, because I've always heard about war. Like the first part when the war starts, they put the rumors out to try to discredit the people that they're going to attack and topple. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And it seemed like the same old shit to me. It's like the art of war, you know?
The reality right now is that a grand jury is now convening
yeah.
for Diddy. And if you know how grand juries work, once again, an example of how law enforcement has an advantage over you as an individual. Johnny Cochran made a famous statement. He said he can convict a ham sandwich with a grand jury.
Right. Damn.
The grand jury, basically, law enforcement will go to a judge and say that we want a grand jury. They put together a group of people. And for weeks, even months, they can continue to bring witnesses and evidence to the grand jury and present it to the grand jury without any pushback from the accused.
Really?
Yes, this is how it works. Meaning that they could bring a witness. The witness say, I saw Diddy do sex trafficking and, push a lot of drugs. Diddy's lawyers don't get to sit in on this and say, no, this person actually is a liar and he tried to extort Diddy and
okay,
whatever
when
else.
can they actually go and fight against?
Well,
okay.
let me explain.
All right.
For a week, this is how Keffe D got indicted.
Okay.
His grand jury lasted for months. They kept bringing in this witness, that witness, Dirt Rock, Reggie Wright Jr., Greg Kading, this person, a VladTV interview, Cam Capone interview. They keep bringing more and more stuff until the jury finally says, yes, we feel there's probable cause for an indictment. And then they get indicted. Now, when it goes to trial, the lawyers can then argue about all this stuff if he gets admitted to court. But during the grand jury part, there's no pushback. It's a one-sided argument, which is crazy.
That's really crazy, and don't seem like no justice is
That's
involved.
what I'm saying. It's unfair.
Yeah, it's
don't be a criminal.
Yeah.
It's stacked against you in America.
What camera am I on? You heard what he said. It doesn't pay.
It doesn't pay.
I swear to God,
So-
you got a better chance with just using your talents that God gave you and the
Start
little
a YouTube
sense
channel.
that you
Do
have.
something.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing, is that once the grand jury has started against Diddy, you're 99% sure that he's going to be arrested and indicted.
Damn.
So he's going to be arrested. Now, they say that he pulled out $100 million out of his properties. He took second mortgages on his properties, and I think that money is prepared for the fight that's about to happen legally.
Yeah.
He's going to hire the best lawyers. He's going to get all types of private investigators and forensic experts and this, whatever, to try to stay out of prison. But he is almost definitely going to be indicted.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised with all the shit that I've heard that he hasn't been. That's the trickiest shit that
It takes a while.
It does?
The wheels of justice turn slowly. The feds will not arrest
Well, I
you
guess
until
when
they
you
have
pour,
everything laid out.
it doesn't. Because when you pour, your ass going straight to jail.
Right.
Yeah, on the real, I don't know, man.
But when you're rich, they understand there's going to be a big fight.
Yeah, so they...
Nobody wants to be the prosecutor that loses to Diddy.
Of course.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I just...
These
that whole
DAs,
system bothers me.
these prosecutors, they could lose their jobs just like anybody else. You go and spend $10
not the
million
worst job
of the
to
government's
lose.
money just to lose.
It's not the worst job to lose, though, Vlad.
Well, for them
I
it
think
is.
it's a scumbag job to
I mean,
to
I
begin with.
agree. I would never do it. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to
wouldn't
put
either.
people in prison, but I'm saying this is their career. You spend a whole bunch of money and spend years for a case that you lose. Like how, Murder Inc., were busted by the feds and they ultimately beat the case.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure someone lost their job over that shit.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, them people are pretty intelligent, man. That ain't the only way they can make some money. It's just, I don't know, man, but yeah. Oh, Diddy, man, shit. The funniest shit about a lot of this shit that I really, really don't like is how all these people are coming out saying shit. It's like, why didn't you stop? Like, like the Gene Deal dude.
Yeah.
You seen him doing all these things, but you had when you was getting paid, you didn't say nothing about it.
Yeah, well, listen,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
when Roger Bonds did the interview with me, I asked him that exact question. So listen, you're watching this abuse, but you're sticking around and you're getting paid. And, he was pretty honest with his answer. He said, look, when I got hired, see, these days security is viewed a little bit differently. Like, if you're a serious person, like me.
Yeah.
When I have security, it's either active police officers or former police officers.
Okay.
I don't get street guys around me because you bring a street guy around you and then now you have his set of problems to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And you might have problems with him at some point.
I understand.
So I've always, I've never had security around you because of our relationship, but during certain interviews when I have security, people know my man Biggie, or, I got a guy in New York who's active NYPD. I feel like that to me is the ultimate form of protection because who's going to shoot a cop?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Once that badge comes out, the hostilities are over.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
NYPD, I remember my New York guy told me that NYPD is the biggest police force in the world.
That might be true.
In the world.
That's crazy.
They have surface-to-air missiles. They can shoot out down a plane.
Damn.
Over 9/11 kind of situations.
Okay,
they have tanks. They have helicopters. Every form of automatic weapon. No gangster is going to go up against that.
I know, and that's kind of probably why they're so corrupt as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
because
doubting
it's like
that.
it's an arrogance that come with all that shit. Yeah.
But during, historically with hip hop, especially talking about, 10, 20 years ago, a lot of these rappers and hip hop moguls, they wouldn't use real security. They would get street guys. They would get the most, thorough street guy they could find. So when situations would arise, they would step in and they'd be respected and, okay, that's so-and-so. Okay, no, I don't want those kind of street problems. I'll leave this person alone.
Yeah, some cases, you're right. Yeah.
So Roger Bonds was that street guy. You know? And he had just got out of prison, and Diddy hired him. And he said flat out, he said, look, this was, you know, I'm straight out of prison. I'm seeing Diddy fire people for just talking back. You know, I didn't want to lose my job. I had kids. So I sat there and, you know, and I watched this happen. I would break it up. You know, I wouldn't let him just beat up Cassie or, you know, or anyone else. But I needed this job, and I stuck around. I needed the money, and I stuck around. And, you know, he also said, you know, he felt that had he left, that it would be worse for Cassie, because he'd be the one that would always kind of try to protect her and stuff like that. But he did watch the abuse happen multiple times.
Yeah, and I just don't think, you know, I don't think that's justified as well, Vlad, because...
And I understand your point of view. A lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah, man, that's kind of, you know, this little helpless woman that you seeing this man just do any kind of way. Like, I just think that's some... But, you know, that's the industry, bro. Like, I'm sure it's a whole lot of shit that people have to sit there and just accept due to the circumstance that they're in. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really nothing you can't really judge them to a degree, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, who raised you? You know what I'm saying? What kind of upgrowing that you come up under to where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would turn a blind eye to certain shit like that. And I just...
You know, I get it, you know?
I don't know, man.
And from his point of view, it's like, okay, do I stick around with this job and witness this abuse, or do I lose this job and go back to doing illegal activities and go back to prison?
Yeah, I mean,
that was the choice that he was facing.
I understand, but like, I mean, come on, bro. I'd rather do the illegal activities, bro, as opposed to watching a woman get abused and I just sit idly by and do nothing about it. Like, I can't do it.
Yeah, well, you know, and he said that he's willing to take the stand in this case.
See, that's what I'm saying. Now you want to get on the fucking stand. Like, it's weird, bro. He's not solid. He's not a solid person. Now you want to get on the stand, but you watched it. You claimed that you stopped it here and there, but yeah, I can't fuck with that. I can't fuck with it. Yeah.
You know, a few months ago, I interviewed the Hughes brothers. Individually, Alan and Albert. And they said something I didn't know. Eazy-E and MC Ren were originally cast to be in Menace II Society.
Yeah, I saw them say that.
That would have been interesting.
Bro, like, but I as much as I would have loved to see Eazy and MC Ren, these dudes are my hip hop idols, right? As much as I would have loved to see them in that movie, could they have pulled those roles off?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, bro.
I mean, they're not actors.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
They're not
but
actors.
I mean, who knows what could have been pulled out of them? You know what I mean? Because
right.
even the actor has to play their first role, right? At some point.
Well, no, but usually when they play their first role, there's usually a body of practice.
I understand
and small
that point.
roles and small, you know, theater and you know, drama classes and acting coaches and stuff like that.
A little more
I don't think Eazy and Ren had any of that.
Yeah.
And in fact, well,
right.
and here's the thing: Eazy and Ren pulled out themselves.
Oh yeah, probably was like, hell no, this too.
You know, Eazy I think was gonna work on his own movie, and I think Ren became Muslim and didn't want to play like a certain kind of character. And look, at the end of the day, who they got, you know, to play O-Dog and Kane, killed it.
Yeah, they did.
And in fact, I like Menace Society better than really Boys in the Hood and all the other South Central and everything else like that came out.
Yeah, just the simple fact that the movie is so great. It's like one of the greatest movies to me of all time.
I agree.
As much as I love Eazy, I didn't want to see him in that role. Like I can't picture him. Yeah, I can't picture him pulling that off.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually,
but I think it's dope to know that, though. You know what I mean?
I think I was talking to, did I text Alan this? But imagine with AI, you might be able to actually put Eazy's face on O-Dog and his voice and actually see him.
It don't even sound, just me picturing it, bro, like, yeah, I can't see it. Eazy would have been a cool-ass villain. I ain't gonna lie.
I think he was supposed to play O-Dog.
Yeah, but not that. See, O-Dog have.
He was a villain, but somebody.
But he was very
a likable villain.
Yeah, not just
What'd you
that.
say about my mama?
Like the villain I'm thinking about with Eazy is more like the Joker and Batman type shit.
Yeah.
Like funny, you know what I'm saying? Quirky a little bit.
Yeah.
O-Dog was just, he was a different type of dude. Like, I don't think Eazy, I don't know, man. I ain't gonna say he didn't have the potential, but I can't picture it, you know?
Well, I remember my interview, I think it was with Albert. They were saying, because they were hanging out with Eazy for a while.
Yeah.
Were you ever around him?
I don't recall
You
ever
never met
seeing
him.
them,
Okay.
yeah.
But they were saying this one time they were hanging out with Eazy and they were in the car together. And Eazy was like kind of sick. He was coughing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Alan looked at Eazy and said, "Hey, man, do you have AIDS?"
We noticed that there's a difference in his appearance. His skin is kind of ashy. He's not as bulky as he used to be. He's still bulky. But we notice something's not right with him. So we're driving one day, and he would always have the shits when we knew him, or he would throw up a lot.
Mm.
So we're driving on the way to the office, and Eazy's like, "Oh my God, I gotta go. If I get pulled over by the cops, I'm gonna shit my pants." And I remember distinctly my brother turns to him and goes, "Eazy, you ever think maybe you have AIDS?"
Oh, you guys brought it up.
My brother was in the front seat. He goes, you ever think maybe you have AIDS?
Huh.
And Eazy goes like this. He looks at him, goes, and keeps driving.
Oh, wow.
And Eazy sort of just laughed
He
it
didn't
off.
punch the shit out of him?
No.
Should have slapped the shit out that nigga. That's crazy, bro. Like, what's up with these people, man? What's up with these people with these 100-year later stories about, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That should just be offending me, bro.
Me and you have had arguments about this.
Yeah.
You felt that he didn't die of AIDS.
Yeah,
I feel that he had, but
yeah, I don't believe it, bro. I just don't.
Well, I remember there was a documentary that came out, and they talked about the whole Suge Knight, inject him with AIDS comment that happened on on the talk
Jimmy
show.
Kimmel or whatever.
Yeah. And I remember in that documentary, they interviewed Crooked Eye, who was rolling with Suge during that time. Because remember, Suge was trying to relaunch the label, and Crooked Eye was like the big artist on the label at the time.
I remember.
And Crooked Eye said that, he talked about the situation. He said he was there when he saw Suge say that. And as they were riding back, he asked Suge, he's like, "Yo, is that really true?" And Suge was like, "I don't know. I be hearing people do shit like that." So basically, Suge was trolling, but he never stood behind actually doing that.
Yeah, it just was some outlandish shit to say. Like, Suge strike me as a person that would just blurt out some utterly ignorant bullshit out of his mouth. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, to this day, now he's saying that Eazy was crying and Dre wanted him shot in the face, and
exactly.
This is very on brand for Suge this whole time.
Yeah, but you got to understand the type of thing like it would make people think because of how he passed away, and then like you say, like people like us that was around him and just didn't see no decline in his health. You know what I'm saying? Like. He had the shit that he always had, which was bronchitis or whatever. But outside of that, bro, like there was no signs of him. You know what I'm saying? And after, like, I've seen 2 people die from that shit in my life, which was one of my homeboys' uncles and my little brother under me, his dad. His dad was a heroin addict. You know what I mean? And sharing needles. You know what I'm saying, with other people. So I seen them die slowly from that shit. And all the shit that they had to do just while they were alive. And, I just didn't see that with my homie, you know what I mean? So like, I got too much shit that I can put it against. You understand what I'm saying? For me to agree with that. Like, I just... Yeah. And then, like I said, the women he had, bro, like, I know some of them personally, you know what I'm saying? They all from around the same place where I'm from. And it's like none of them, the kid...
Well, but in that same documentary,
I heard what you said. I heard what they said.
Who said that one of the women that Eazy was sleeping with had HIV,
I think they paid for that. Honestly, I think they paid for that man to say that, bro.
Really?
I really do. I really, really do.
Listen, man, I
Because
respect
why
your
why
stance.
never went after his estate? Like if somebody knowingly has a disease, right, and have sex with a person,
You may not know though at the time. You know
but
what I'm saying?
this is what they saying, that this is what everybody's saying, right? I don't know, bro.
Eazy
but
had
I'm
11
just-
kids.
Huh?
He was clear. Eazy had 11 kids. He
Yeah.
was clearly not using condoms. In a Howard Stern interview, he said he doesn't use condoms, and his kids sort of show that.
Let me clear that up. That's not true, right? I've gotten condoms from this man before.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Eazy is the type of person, he used to say things for shock value. Let me just put that out there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what the whole idea of NWA, making fuck the police and all of these songs, you know, these sexual songs and things like that. All this gangster talk was for shock value. That was his thing. You know what I mean? So everything he said wasn't true that came out of his mouth in regards to a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't believe it, bro. And until somebody can show me otherwise, I'll never believe it. I just won't.
DJ Yella said he's considering using AI to do some new Eazy-E songs.
That would be dope.
You like that?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah. That would be awesome, bro. I ain't even think about it because I've been hearing all the Pac and all that.
Yeah,
I didn't even
what'd you think when
about that.
Drake used the Pac AI to diss Kendrick?
I didn't really like that.
I thought it was whack.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I thought it was whack.
Yeah, it was distasteful. Because Drake said some kind of not so good shit about Pac as well. Like, it was just like what he said and how he said it. He said on the song, he said, I didn't cry when Pac died, but I probably will. I probably do when Hove does. Like some shit like that. Do you remember a song he said that on?
Not really, but I believe you.
Yeah, it's just like.
He's also younger though, so you know.
I understand, but it's like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Well, Eazy-E got a Compton street named after him.
Absolutely.
The 100 block of Auto Drive South.
Yes, sir.
Were you there when they did that?
I didn't make it down for that, no.
Too bad.
Yeah. But I'm super proud, and it's like a long time coming. That shit should have been happening.
Yeah.
He's definitely a hometown hero.
I mean, I had never heard of Compton. In fact, I remember I was living in the Bay. I'm in the same state.
Yeah.
I'd heard of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I heard of Long Beach. I had never heard of Compton. And in fact, I remember on Eazy-E's first album, remember the whole intro? Mm-hmm. He said, yeah, he come from Compton, Michigan. I'm like, okay, Compton's in Michigan. Okay. Yeah. Like, I'm like getting trolled. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense, but I guess it's actually Michigan.
Right.
But no one heard of Compton.
Yeah.
Up until Eazy-E said it.
Yeah, I mean, if you wasn't from Southern California.
No, you had no idea. I said Northern California had no idea what Compton was.
That's probably true. That's probably
It is true.
Yeah.
You know, unless you had relatives and you're going down to Southern
But the only
California
reason
all
why
the
I
time.
say it because, you know, the Panthers, like, we had Panthers down our way as well. So, I mean, but the younger generation, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hip hop is concerned, probably.
Yeah, no, he completely put it on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of cities in LA that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Pasadena.
Carson, Pasadena.
Yeah.
Harbor City.
Exactly. Who's ever heard of those?
Yeah.
You know, Long Beach.
Like on a worldwide scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snoop put Long Beach on the map.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But who put Calabasas? There's no rapper that put Calabasas on the map. You know, I mean, the Kardashians put Calabasas on the map.
What's the movie? Malibu Most. Well, that's
Malibu's
not even.
that's where he's from?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah. No,
but
Malibu,
that's a whole nother city.
Malibu,
but yeah,
people heard of Malibu. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, he put Compton on the map. He 100% deserves it.
Absolutely.
You know, and then I believe earlier this year, NWA got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Long time coming, bro.
Well deserved.
Well, you know, I put NWA in a category for me with Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? Because you have these young black dudes that came from the inner city that broke all these records, bro, and just did some things that nobody expected them to do. And that alone warrants all the accolades that they're just now getting acknowledged for. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just think, you know, shout out Dr. Dre, because I'm sure he has a lot to do with pushing that envelope for that legacy, you know what I mean? But I'm happy, man. I'm happy for him. And the only thing that I'm still sad about in regards to him as his kids not benefiting from, you know, the legacy that he left and the money that he left behind. I really don't like that part. And I hope that one day that, you know, they get to take control of his stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's the only shit that I'm still like, because I just don't think it's fair, bro. Like, if you passed away and your kids didn't get the benefit from all the things that you worked hard for, you know what I mean? I just think it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
look, I interviewed
fucked up.
Jason Mitchell, who played Eazy-E in the NWA movie, and he said that Lil Eazy was upset when he didn't get that role.
Yeah, he wasn't ready. I mean, I was upset too. But looking in hindsight, you know, I think it was more for us, it was emotional because the way how we're so attached to the story, you know? But I think in hindsight, yeah, he wasn't ready, bro. He just wasn't ready for that.
Well, you know, and look, Ice Cube's son, he took it seriously.
Exactly.
He took acting lessons. I think he went to USC and was taking drama and everything else like that. Like, you know, and of course his dad played a big role in that.
Of course.
Eazy-E's dad, you know, Lil Eazy's dad wasn't around.
Exactly.
To help guide him. So, you know, it's not exactly the same situation, but, you know, you see this on the horizon. You look just like him. You have the same body shape. You have the same, you know, similar features.
See, Eazy's story is bigger than that as well, too. And this is what I'm going to just put this out in the universe. There's a lot more about him that they need to actually, you know, make movies and things about anyway. So I think he should start getting ready. You know what I'm saying? Because Eazy need his own story. To be honest with you, like if you can paint a picture, 1986, Vlad, 1984, 1985, 1986, crack cocaine hits, right? The inner cities. And you have these young, you have not only the older people who are adults, but the young adults and the young teenagers who were like mid-teens, 13, 14, 15, getting their hands on kilos of cocaine, bro, and touching all this money, right? And then you think about a young man who has the bright idea, I'm gonna start a record label.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, people thought he was fucking out of his mind. Cause, you know, being trapped in the ghetto, we getting free lunch, bro. We getting government cheese and whatnot. You know, we watching our parents smoke crack cocaine and get abused, you know what I'm saying, from their drug addict boyfriends and husbands. Who the fuck is thinking about who's thinking about owning a fucking record label out of all of this bullshit? Like, well, how is your mind so set so far ahead? You know, and then you actually not only think about it, but you actually go and do it.
Well, yeah, especially...
There's a lot to be said about the type of person that he was.
Yeah,
do you understand
and
what I'm
especially
saying?
because Eazy himself didn't really have a lot of musical ability.
Exactly.
Like, he wasn't even trying to be the rapper.
Exactly.
He was
on some CEO shit.
He was on some CEO shit,
entrepreneur-
and Dre literally pushed him into the booth and said, "You're going to do this song that Ice Cube just wrote."
Dre has an ear, bro.
Yeah.
Dre has a fucking ear, like one of the greatest ears in music.
Correct.
And Eazy's voice, bro, like you would never get another voice like that.
Yeah, no, I mean...
That shit is...
I
like,
mean,
it was
listen,
the greatest thing that Dre ever did was push him in that booth.
like, Ice Cube was definitely the best rapper in the crew.
Absolutely.
But everyone always looked forward to the Eazy part of the song.
Absolutely. Because it was the sonic part.
Sonically, it was so dope.
Right.
And his personality just sort of
the
shone
most unique
through.
voice I've ever heard in music. Like it's certain people like DMX, you know what I'm saying? Like just voices you can't buy.
Yeah.
Fucking Scarface, you know what I'm saying? Like they voice was Bone Thugs and Harmony. They just had instruments in their fucking throat, you know what I mean? And it just made for better sound when the music was good, you know what I'm saying? Like shit was awesome, bro. But anyhow, just the story on this man alone, bro, I think it needs to be done. You feel what I'm saying? Like he needs his own biopic, like the Eric Wright story.
Oh yeah, just like
me?
I think Tupac needs a better movie.
Absolutely.
To be made
He needs the same thing.
Yeah. I think an incredible movie would be to show Tupac and Orlando and just follow their stories and show how they eventually intersected.
That'd be dope.
I mean?
That's a dope
And
ass
how-
idea. That's a dope ass idea.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you in a previous interview, but I was talking to one of the Compton cops about this situation, about when Orlando got killed. when he got shot, he was still alive.
Yeah.
When they showed up to the car wash where the triple homicide occurred, and they were essentially trying to get a death confession out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Yo, did you kill Tupac? Did you kill Tupac?" And Orlando looked at the
That's
cop.
some fucked up shit to do to somebody.
You know what I'm saying? As they're dying.
That's really fucked up. But yeah.
But as he's dying, they're like, "Who killed Tupac?" And he said, "Fuck you." And then he died.
Ray Richardson, he was in the gang unit at the time. Ray Richardson's about 6'5", okay? And at the time, he used to wear his hair like the guy from Cameo. The high, fade, flat top. So all the gangsters called Ray Cameo. So when Ray got to the scene and he saw Baby Lane getting put into the ambulance, he asked him. He said, "Hey, did you kill Tupac?" And anybody in law enforcement knows that would have been a dying declaration. They could have killed the case. If he would have said, "I killed Tupac," and then he died, case closed, right? But Baby Lane, being a gangster to the end, he said, "Fuck you, Cameo." And I know this because Ray Richardson told me that. So essentially, the last words that Baby Lane spoke were "fuck you, Cameo."
And
I think they made that shit up too, bro. It just sounds like a movie, though, doesn't it?
It does a little bit. But
like
I can tell you this, though, in a totally separate interview with Chris Carroll, who was the first responder in Las Vegas when Tupac got shot. Same thing.
I heard this.
Who shot you? Pac looked at him and said, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
So both these guys, their last words was
"fuck you" to the police.
The exact same ending.
That's crazy, stories. Bro. That sounds like some movie shit, to be honest. Because I just don't see nobody thinking about being in that mind state as they're dying. I only seen that in the movies. Motherfuckers that shot be worried about not making it. You know what I'm saying? Like, as opposed to your last thing is you expressing your anger to somebody.
Yeah, but the police most people aren't getting harassed by the police as they're dying also.
Yeah, because when I got shot, like, they was doing me the same way. Like, you know what I'm saying? All the shit. But it's like, I don't buy it fully. I don't know, but I don't totally buy the shit.
Listen, I wasn't there in any of these cases, so all I could go by is what people tell me on camera.
Yeah, I understand, but like, I think the idea you just presented is fucking awesome, though.
It is.
Because like,
and the thing about Orlando and Pac even kind of looks
This
similar.
is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I told you this before. Like, if they probably would have met under different circumstances, they probably would have been the best of friends. Because Orlando is a likable person, bro. He was just a likable person. He was really sincere, and he was, it wasn't like, he was no nonsense, but not to the degree, to the extreme. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, he was just a good person, like a good human being, bro, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just unfortunate. And I think Pac probably was the same way. Although I didn't know him as well, you know what I'm saying? But I think they probably would have really been close if they met each other under different circumstances.
Well, according to Keefe, after Orlando got jumped, he was trying to reach out to Suge to basically say Orlando just wants a one-on-one fight with Tupac.
That's my boy.
We could squash it. And, talking to my man Eazy from the Outlaws, he said Pac probably would have done it. Pac was willing to scrap, clearly he was willing to jump somebody on his own. And, if he didn't have
Pac
layers of people between them, basically if they called up Pac and said, "Listen, this dude you just jumped wants to have a one-on-one fight with you," Pac potentially would have said yes if it was up to him. But other people were in between that situation. And had that fight happened, that would have been it.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I don't think that Orlando would have then gotten a gun to try to kill him afterwards.
I wonder if Keefe made that shit up. I'm just like, a lot of this shit sounds so fun. But I know Lane is like that because, I'm going to give you a little bit of something
by
that
the way, before you say that, why was his street name Baby Lane?
Because his name is Orlando.
Oh, Lane for Orlando. Oh, okay, I see. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, back in the day, MC Ren and Orlando had a fight before.
What?
MC Ren.
Fist fight?
Yeah.
Over what?
I don't recall what it was over, but they actually had they threw down.
Who won?
You would have to ask the living person. I don't want to say.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Were you there when it happened?
I wasn't there when it happened.
But you know people that were there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did it get bad?
It was just a fight.
Just a fist
You know what I'm
fight.
saying? It was just a fight, yeah. You know, somebody might have got kicked or something. But
why would Ren,
because
being
DJ
the superstar NWA member that he is, fight with a street guy?
DJ Train, right? You remember him?
Yeah.
He's from Orlando's hood.
Okay.
Which was Ren's DJ.
Ah.
And Ren spent a lot of time over there.
Aha.
You understand? So, yeah. So,
Shit happens.
Shit happens.
Okay, but it was just a fist fight. There was
Just a fist fight. It didn't go
There's no weapons or anything else like that.
Nope.
I mean, listen, I've tried to get Ren for an interview for a decade. He just
I tried to
like
get
doing
him
interviews.
on here. I tried to interview him on your show, but he don't really want to fuck with it.
He don't want to do interviews, period.
Yeah.
The last interview he did, I think, was leading up to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I think Kendrick interviewed NWA.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he would do that.
Of course.
You know, that's a big, high profile.
I'm gonna keep trying, man, because like I said, that's one of my childhood heroes, man.
Yeah.
In music, bro. And it's
Mine
like,
too.
I need him to tell a lot of his story too, because he's when it comes to them records, man, he made them shits as great as they are. You know what I'm saying? Like
totally.
Man, Ren is a villain, and you're just an hostage. Whenever I'm stepping, cover your head like an ostrich. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That nigga was the shit, man. Come on, bro.
100%.
People need to
NWA
hear.
wouldn't have been NWA without Ren.
Absolutely.
He doesn't get the shine that Ice Cube got because he didn't really have a solo career.
Absolutely.
Like Ice Cube had. Ice Cube had a stellar solo career. Dre had a stellar solo career.
Right.
Yella and Ren, Eazy-E had a stellar solo career.
Yeah.
And he was a
Eazy
big
personality was larger than life.
Yeah,
so,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yella and Ren were the background guys.
Yeah.
But you need the background to make the whole picture.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can't just have the
I just
mountain with
think
no
like
sky.
sometimes I think it's like their personalities. Some people personalities just don't really match, with the talent they have, I think.
Yeah.
And Ren just wasn't. He was outspoken, but he was only passionate about the music. Like I don't think he tried to explore anything outside of just being a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
And you could tell even as a rapper, certain people, they only work well in the collective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ren worked great in the collective at NWA.
Absolutely.
But when he came to his solo albums like Kiss My Black Ass and stuff like that,
Yeah, well, he didn't have
so
Dre
much.
behind him. He didn't have that push either, though. You got.
Yeah, but Ice Cube didn't have Dre behind him, and look what happened.
Yeah, but
Ice Cube
could have rapped over fucking.
No,
I'm just saying.
Ice Cube went to the East Coast and had Chuck D and the Bomb Squad
He was
produce
just that
a hell of an
dynamic.
album.
Yeah, he was just that dynamic, though.
He was just dynamic.
Yeah.
And you could tell he went on to do acting and everything else like that. And, it's Ice Cube was just more of a star than Ren, and that's cool. But Ren worked great in that group.
I think Cube just was more intelligent than probably outside of Eazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was very smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. You actually reached out to me out of the blue because I just interviewed Curtis Wall Street Carroll.
Yes, sir.
Who was a stock guy in prison.
Yes, sir.
Who I'd actually interviewed while he was still in prison. He just got out. We did a second interview with him.
Yeah.
And you said you were locked up with him.
Yeah, man, I did I'm assuming about 7 to 8 years with him on 2 different prison yards. Yep. Great guy.
What was he like back then?
He was cool, man. He just he came in jail. We both came in prison like in our early 20s, you know what I'm saying? So we was just trying to find our way, you know what I'm saying? We knew in prison. We starting to learn the politics and how things go. And now we trying to find our way, you know what I'm saying? Because when you first get to prison as a youngster, the first thing I did was I took on all the shit that was put on my shoulders from my uncles and shit like that. So I went in there hardlining, you know what I'm saying, with the gang shit, getting my respect and all that shit. And after getting in trouble so many times, I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here because I have a date. A lot of people come in here without a release date, which is lifers. You know what I'm saying? They come in there living like they ain't got nothing to lose. People that have dates, they want to make their fucking date. You know what I'm saying? No matter how mad they is for being in jail. So anyhow, me and him was one of the people who used to try to learn things to better ourselves. Like he had life as well, But I think he always believed he wasn't going to be in prison for the rest of his life. So he was bettering himself. You know what I'm saying? He was learning things, and stocks was the thing that he took to the most. And once he got it, he got a nice hold of that knowledge, he started giving it out for free. He would try to teach anybody who would listen. And I was one of the people that actually listened to him. You know what I'm saying?
Did you actually invest in stocks?
I did, and I still do.
Okay. You still do?
Absolutely.
Stocks changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know a little bit about your story.
Point blank period. If I didn't start investing in stocks when I first started making money, I would not be able to retire today if I wanted to. That's how deep it is. Like right now, if this was the last interview I ever did and I shut down VladTV, I could live out the rest of my days with the same type of lifestyle I'm living right now because of stock investing.
That's dope. I wish I'd have met you back then.
Yeah, no, but it just shows how important it is. And me and him, we did an interview and we argued about certain points about stock investing, but our overall idea is very similar.
Okay.
And I think what was really dope about him is that in the process of learning stock investing, because he came in illiterate.
Yep.
He didn't know how to read.
Yep, I know.
He learned how to read because, he came in for a murder at 17. He learned how to read in prison and then taught himself stock investing. And because he ended up hooking up with a guy who was a big, hedge fund guy, that relationship, and we talked about this in the interview, was the reason why that guy put like $500,000 into his legal defense fund, which allowed him to get out.
Beautiful.
You take that out and you just have a poor guy in prison going up to the parole board and getting denied time and time again.
Until they 80 years old.
Yeah, and he even said that the last time when he actually did get the release date, he basically, it was all laid out. He had multiple legal teams, and essentially the parole board were like, yeah, we're not going to deny him this time.
Right.
He walked out of prison, he said on our interview, to a private jet.
That's beautiful.
And that's how he came home.
That's so awesome, bro. Like if you, like I said, walking on the yard with this guy, man, and watch, prison ain't no easy place to be, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a lot of shit that happens in there, a lot of ups and downs and shit like that. But he was always the same person, like no matter what. And like I said, he was helpful to anybody that would listen, bro. And like, it was so crazy, bro, because even when he first came to me, you know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at him like, first of all, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? Because coming from the hood, niggas don't know about stocks in Compton right now, hanging on the block. You know, maybe they do today because of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was some shit that people just wasn't ready for. But, I was on a journey to change my life, and I was looking for better things to attach myself to. And, me and him spent a lot of time, having a lot of talks, and I'm glad he out, man, on the real.
Yeah, and it just proves that you should not be defined by your worst day.
Absolutely.
He killed somebody. He was involved in a murder. I don't think he was a trigger man.
Yeah, God bless the dead.
But he was involved in a robbery that turned into a murder.
Yeah.
At 17, which turned into a life sentence. And he paid his debt to society.
Yeah.
And he deserves to be out. He deserves to live out the rest of his years as a free man.
Absolutely.
We've all fucked up.
Everybody.
I've had situations where I thought I killed somebody, and you know what I mean? Like, this whole home invasion that happened to me and everything else like that. I could have gone to prison for life over that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just over one bad situation, and the law feeling that I was the aggressor as opposed to the victim, and then next thing you know, you're doing 20, 30, 50 years. Like, I bought a kilo of cocaine once, and got ripped off for it. And
so you ain't the police, you Pablo.
I could have done, I remember being upset over the dude that ripped me off, and I remember Freeway Ricky told me flat out. He said, "You do know that if he didn't rip you off, you would have probably gone to prison."
Damn.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way.
Right.
Yeah, a kilo. You're not getting a slap on the wrist for that.
No fucking way.
That could turn into 20 years.
Absolutely.
Completely changed the trajectory of my life.
Right.
I still bought a kilo though.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've done bad things that luckily, just out of sheer luck, I didn't do a bunch of prison time over.
Yeah.
But I did them.
Yeah.
And I could talk about them because it's past statute of limitations. You know what I'm saying? But, yo, luckily, I was still allowed to live out the rest of my life, and I feel that he's allowed to live out the rest of his life as well.
We always had a theory in jail, like some of the more sensible people. If you come to jail, right, you know how people, you get this, this recidivism, these recidivist people that come in and out, and most of the time that's due to them not doing enough time. Right? So if you doing low-level crimes, getting caught with drugs and shit like that, you're only gonna get like 16 months. You know what I'm saying? Every time you get caught, long as it ain't no hell of a shit, 16 months at a time. So you can do, like in the course of me doing 10 years, you can do 10 years in 16-month terms. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you're not really there long enough to learn. But once you come to jail and you sit in there for 5 years or more, it sets in a little bit different. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think for me, past that 5-year mark is when you start to search for something better. You like, yo, this shit is really real. Because that's when you become institutionalized after 5 years. You know what I mean? And I just think like if the penal system, if they would actually focus on really making these dudes better people, that they would actually come and do better in society. And he's living proof.
Yeah.
But the thing about him and we took it upon ourselves because we were trying to get that help inside. And they just, every time a program comes, it seemed like the institution is always looking for a way to disband the shit and get rid of it. Because they want, it's job security for them, for people to come and be in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not to their benefit for us to get out. And we seen that. And you won't see that unless you're actually in there. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, I believe in giving people second chances, to a degree. Certain people shouldn't get second chances.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Dylan Roof shouldn't get a second chance if you shoot up a church and kill everyone.
I agree with you. There's some people in
Timothy
jail that
McVeigh shouldn't have gotten a second chance for blowing up the federal building. He got the death penalty.
There's some names that you don't know that I was in jail with. I don't want to see them out.
Yeah,
because they didn't mean nobody nothing good. You know what I'm saying?
No. Certain people, they belong in prison.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't want them in society.
Absolutely.
They are terrible people who will continue to do terrible things if you let them out of that cage.
Absolutely, I agree.
But a lot of people, if you mess up as a teenager, you accidentally kill somebody, you're not a serial killer, a robbery goes bad, you're broke and you sell some drugs and you get caught, you steal something because
I think it should be like a testing ground. It should be like a thing where, okay, you did this terrible thing and you shouldn't go unpunished, right? But I think you should be put in a certain type of prison where you get to have your potential tested of the type of person that you have the potential to be.
Yeah.
And if they don't see no improvement in that area, then just throw you in there with the rest of the animals, you know what I mean?
Right.
But as opposed to just shoving everybody all in this one thing, because honestly, you have some very intelligent people in jail, bro. Like some very smart dudes, man. I'm talking about that'll rival any intellectual in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I sat with these people and seen it. Invention wise, these dudes, because you have nothing but to sit back and think about shit.
Yeah, I mean, Tukey, he got the Nobel Peace Prize.
Exactly.
While in prison.
Exactly. Trying to make amends for it, what I'm saying?
They still killed him.
Exactly.
I felt that at the point, okay, look, you got the Nobel Peace Prize, which is not easy to get.
Absolutely.
Like everyone in the world wants this.
Absolutely.
And he got it. While in prison, just give him life.
Right.
All right, fine. You don't want to let him out, that's cool, but you don't have to kill him.
Right.
He's clearly doing something very different than he was doing in LA.
Absolutely. And this is a person
he's contributing at this point.
Yeah, and this is a person that people looked up to. You got to understand the type of stature that he had amongst the gangs, bro. This is a dude that could have potentially. I seen Tookie when I was probably 2-3 years old. He used to buy Sherm for my grandfather, bro.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I used to watch Tookie and this other dude named Domino. We used to live in the Coolacoos inside of Inglewood. This is before it was all, you know, because Inglewood is mostly blood territory now. But back then, it was like 60s and, you know, other Crip gangs over there. But anyhow, my father was selling Sherm and all the OG Crips, Tookie them.
That's PCP?
PCP.
Yeah.
And all the OG Crips used to come cop Sherm for my grandfather. So I used to be outside eating ice creams, sitting on the stairs and watch these dudes get Shermed out. And they was all buff and they would bust out their clothes, flexing and shit like that. Yeah. So I remember him. I still have those visuals in my head of him from being a kid.
Yeah. No, rest in peace, Tookie, man. It's too bad how it all ended up for him. You
Absolutely. Know? But that's what I was saying. Like, he had the potential, bro, to because of his name, because it was other people like Barefoot Pookie, who just passed, rest in peace, who's from that generation, you know what I'm saying? But amongst us, he didn't have that same power that Tookie had in our minds. You understand what I'm saying? So Tookie was a person who had the potential, if he would have ever came home, to actually probably stop a lot of that bullshit from going on in LA, bro. You understand? So, yeah.
That's what it is, BG Knockout, man. People thought we were beefing because you hadn't been on the show in a while. Man, there was absolutely no beef whatsoever. We've been staying in contact.
Yeah,
the thing is, I kept trying to go down to Vegas. I was trying to, like, I kept pushing the interview back because I'm like, oh, I want to go down to Vegas and do it there, but I just couldn't make the trip happen. So I'm like, okay, let me just cut it out and bring him up here to LA and do it here. But, you know, we've always rocked with each other since day one. We've always had a great relationship, man. People love you on VladTV.
Man, appreciate it.
Man, glad to have you back.
Salute to y'all, man, whoever y'all are. Appreciate
Thank you,
y'all
man.
too.
Until next time.
For sure.
Peace.